All right, we're ready when you're ready.
Good morning, everyone. I will call this meeting to order, DeKalb County Commissioners. Today's date is July 7th, 2025. Good morning, Dottie, and off we go.
Good morning. Yes, off we go. Well, some good news. Between temporary staffing and DeKalb County government staffing, Sunny Meadows has every position filled. So, yay. Anyway, so that is good news. Right now, Community Corrections has 2 new residential facility officers starting today, which is why Morgan isn't here. She is onboarding them as we speak. And then the clerk is currently interviewing some applicants for a deputy opening that she has. So that's, recruiting and also hiring is a little light right now, which is just fine. That's been working out very nicely because we've been busy with the health plan, which I think implementation overall has been really pretty good. Over the weekend, we didn't have any employee contact us about not being able to access their membership cards, or I shouldn't say membership cards, their ID cards on the individual websites. So we are still waiting for some things from Lincoln for medical dental. I don't believe the dental cards have gone out, but the medical cards should all be in everybody's hands. The vision will not have a card. You will just go into the vendor and give them your social security number, and they will be able to locate your account as long as they are in the network, in Lincoln's network. So we're moving right along, which is great. Hoping that all of the accumulators, all of that out-of-pocket max that everybody had acquired during this last year with Surest, that will take probably another few weeks yet for Surest to generate that report and then get that to PHP. We try to wait as long as possible so that we have all the information that we possibly can. Sometimes facilities, medical professionals don't bill as promptly as maybe we would like. And so even though our plan ended June the 30th, Surest is probably still getting invoices from the professionals. So we try to wait as long as possible so that then that can go into our employees' accounts with PHP so that if they hit their deductible, we've got that information in there. We did tell in all of the meetings that if employees felt that they were getting close to being at their max with Surest, to give us their last EOB so that it would state on that how close they were to their out-of-pocket so that we could get that to PHP. PHP was going to take that as a good foundation so that the employee, if they, hit the deductible in July, that they can, they can start reaping the benefits of having met their deductible. So that's good. Last week we had a department heads meeting, and you guys should have your minutes from that. We had some interesting discussions on several topics. And one of those topics was the clerk bringing up 2 new laws that have been implemented as of July 1 about the Office of Circuit Court Clerk hours on election days, and that they are actually mandated now by Indiana Code that they will be closed to all other business except for election business. And then the other one is the paid leave for local government employees actually working the polls. Now, in the past, when DeKalb County government had election day, either the primary, well, both the primary and the general election days as paid holidays. We did have a lot of employees who would work the polls that particular day. Now, they can do that because they may be paid their set hourly rate as a regular DeKalb County government employee, but they are paid a set fee or wage for that particular election day. Unlike, it goes along with the policy that we have in the employee handbook that a person cannot be working in two different departments. And so election is another department, quote unquote. But there is a new Indiana code law that we, as an employee, as an employer, well, the employee is entitled to a day of paid leave from us if the employee requests leave to serve as a precinct election officer, and that's a poll worker, such as an inspector, a clerk, or a judge on election days. And it specifies that the employee receiving this paid leave is also entitled to receive their poll worker pay as well. So that means that they do not have to take a PTO day in order to work the polls. And I am sure that you've been really aware of how difficult it has been in the past several years for the clerk's office, well, not just here, but all over the place, to get people to work the polls. And it's a long day, civic duty and all of that, but it's just hard to get people to be able to commit to a day. So that made Dana really happy. She's hoping that that will help her be able to recruit more people, but that does cause us to then have to probably create a policy for our employee handbook, because we have it in there that well, first of all, it's not a paid holiday any longer, and what we have in our employee handbook, that employees are not to be doing any election work, soliciting votes, just, I gave you, all of the policy that we have in there. So that is a biggie. And I know you guys can't make a decision immediately. That needs to be discussed, but I did want to bring it to you while it was hot off the press. And then another Indiana law that took effect July 1 is that has to do with school conferences. So, and as I preface this when I talk to our department heads, I know most of them are really good about allowing their employees to take time off if they have to go to a school conference, either issues with the child's attendance, or even an IEP, an independent, or the individualized education plan for students that have needs, special needs. And they usually will allow the employee to take PTO. They will allow the employee to flex their hours. It just has been kind of an unwritten rule. Generally we don't allow any comp time for working over, but this is like a flex kind of thing. However, under this new law, all Indiana employees are eligible to take unpaid job-protected leave once per calendar year for each of the following types of school programs for their biological child, their adopted child, their foster child, or even a stepchild, and that is the attendance conferences or a case conference, committee meetings to develop the plan for a student with a disability. And so it was recommended that employers may require employees to provide at least 5 days notice of this meeting, which I would think that a lot of times employees could do that if possible. That's a if possible. And making, if it's virtual, but it would still mean that the employee would have to leave their work area to go, do maybe a phone conference with the school. So there's things that affect our employees that we really need to talk about, and I have not worked on a policy yet for the school conference thing, but I think that that would be an easy, being able to, a couple lines in policies that we currently have with attendance. But what the big thing will be is these two election-affected policies to be discussed. And I also sent you a spreadsheet, and it's not all 92 counties by any means, but it is a lot. And the group that the HR network with the Association of Indiana Counties, we are an affiliate of them. We had asked about their holiday schedules, and if you will notice, most of them do have primary and election day as paid holidays in the years in which we have elections.
Any questions, comments by commissioners?
I think we'll have to update our handbook.
Obviously,
Yeah.
have to do that.
We'll be working together. Yeah, I will. Yep. Yeah.
Rick? Your mic on.
The one thing Dottie didn't mention, I know it's been mentioned to her. If we close the clerk's office on those 2 days, and I happen to think over the weekend, it's actually 2 days in the even-numbered years and 2 days in one of the odd-numbered years because of city elections. That's going to cause issues for the probation department, the 3 courts, the public defender's office. If the clerk's office is closed, that will restrict what business they can do if those are actually closed. I think we should look at going back to making those paid holidays, which is what we did when we were still using the courthouse as election sites for 4 precincts. Now, I will say that since the clerk's office has taken us to polling centers, we don't need as many employees as we did at one time. Because previously we had 39 precincts and needed 5 individuals for each one of those precincts. Now we only need it for the 8 polling stations. So, but quite a few of our poll workers are aging out. Many of them have done it for 20 years or longer. It is about a 16-hour day, 15-hour day. And they're 75, 80 years old, and it's very difficult to do that kind of time and be there at 5 in the morning and whatnot. So we do need the younger people, of which many of the county employees are the younger people that we're looking for. So it is a serious issue because we cannot do anything that might restrict voting, and to make have fewer voting stations and whatnot is just not acceptable. Anything we can do to make it easy to vote, the better. So, thank you.
I have a question. What authority do we have to require the employees work at these voting stations if we are in fact short of help? Can we require that they work, given it's a holiday?
I don't think so.
Then there lies the problem. I mean, if they decide, well, we're not going to work the polls, then what's the point of giving them the time off so they can work the polls?
Law allows them to take the day off now, get paid for it if they want to, as long as they go work the polls, correct?
Well, I think that I think it'd be a good idea to reach out to the judges to find out what their position is, since that, along with probation, I guess they're over probation, of course, and the judges might have an opinion on keeping the courthouse open or not. They may say they still want to work through it and push through it, even though the clerk's office is closed, or they may say they'd rather be off, and I don't know what their opinion would be.
Don't forget to add the public defender and the prosecutor in there.
There you go. There you go.
Your comments?
Right now, just more research into it, I think.
I think so too. One thing I'm going to bring up, I'd be more than willing to give them those additional holidays in exchange for additional hours of work. In other words, 37.5-hour work week or a 40-hour work week. But I think in all fairness to the taxpayer, it's something we ought to consider.
That's also going to depend on funding, because I believe that they had reduced hours when there wasn't a lot, when they were lower in revenue.
Yeah, this has been decades ago. We're not talking,
I'm
we're
just
talking today.
making it public that
It's been,
it is going to be an increase in,
well, what's
we pay.
additional days off going to cost us? Additional
I'm
holidays?
not arguing that.
Everything
I'm
costs
just
money.
saying that adding to the workday will be additional hours that we just need to take into account.
It's, in my mind, it's a trade-off, but we'll see how it comes out. I'm just one vote. Okay, what else you got, Dottie?
Well, who would like to reach out to the prosecutor, probation, to the judges, to find out what their thoughts are? Is that something one of you would like to do? Would you like me to?
Why don't you do it?
Well, okay,
Yeah, since you volunteered.
since I volunteered, yeah, exactly.
Volunteering.
I'm happy to do it. I just didn't want to step on anybody's toes.
Yeah.
And we'll let you do that, but that's a very good question for all of those offices as they come in for their 26
Budget,
budget
right.
this week. Because they'll all be in on either Wednesday or Thursday.
That's true. Yeah.
Are you going to remember that, Rick?
Sure.
Okay.
Can't leave the house without forgetting something and needing to go back.
I know, right?
Right, yeah, yeah.
Rick,
Sorry.
does anybody speak Spanish?
Yeah, well, yeah. Yep. Yeah. Okay, I have nothing else right now. Does anybody have anything for me?
That was enough.
Well, that was enough, yeah.
You know what the split was for the HSA and the PPO? Of who signed
Not,
up for what?
no, not yet. I haven't had time to take a look at those numbers. But since you bring it up, again, I will give props to Community State Bank. When you guys made that decision on Monday, and we were having our first meeting, open enrollment meeting on Thursday, and needed to get all the information pulled together, they were Johnny on the spot. And we were able to get that information. Well, they brought us packets of information, folders, and it was wonderful. And then from my standpoint, going in to create my, my account with them and other employees, I have heard that it has been just an easy way of doing it. So props again. Thank you very much for making that decision because it's been working out really well. Their customer service has been great. So thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
Good to hear. Okay, all set?
Yeah.
Thank you, Dottie.
Okay.
Okay. We got some time to burn, it looks like. This isn't coming in.
No, he got called into his other job, and so he's just gonna, he let the gentleman know that he wouldn't make it. We'll just do it the next time.
Okay. Okay, then moving on. Getting down to payroll, biweekly.
I'll make a motion to accept payroll.
I'll second.
The motion is second to pay the folks their hard-earned money. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I oppose, motion carries. Claims, and before we jump over into claims, Again, we have a Knox decorative claim in there for 16.3 or something like that. I would like to reject that claim, and I would like to call Holly and Dana into the Commissioner Court, either in 2 weeks or a special meeting next week, and have a conversation about this decoration, this remodeling that's going on, and some of the particulars that's involved in that. Thoughts, comments?
I guess, talking to the two of them myself, I don't understand where the issue is, because the money was allocated by the county council a year ago, and so they're way below what the budgeted amount is. I thought the work looks really good. I don't understand what the problem is.
I'm not questioning the work. It's obviously top-notch. The question is, when the 250 was allocated for the project, it's an automatic bid process. What it comes in after the fact is irrelevant, actually, to what needs to be bid out and what doesn't need to be bid out. And the 250 is well over the bid limit, the limit that needs to be bid out. The other problem with, if it's a bid out, if we go through the whole process, it needs to be a contract. All contracts need to be signed by the commissioners, not a department head.
Did that happen with the other part of the building that was?
They did not meet the requirement for bid. They're below the bid limit, well below it.
Okay, so the 250,000 was an estimate because they had no idea what they were going to spend, because they didn't do quotes and whatnot. Because if council wasn't going to say yes, then those quotes wouldn't be good for another year. So that was just an estimate, just a guess. But we don't have contracts for anybody else, and we've already paid Knox for other work that they've done for the courthouse, for the clerk's office, prior to these two that have come in.
How much have we paid? 70?
Like 90.
And would
To
the,
Knox,
would the bid requirement be for the individual contractors or for the entire project? I believe it'd be for the individual.
That was
The
my question.
painter and that would be one, flooring would be another. If it was all one vendor, that might hit the bid limit, but individually, it does not meet the bid limit.
The invoices are all Knox.
Is it
So-
over 250?
All Knox.
What's the bid limit?
So we have-
Well, I won't say all of them. All
We-
the big ones are Knox. And we got to see where we're at now, where we're going to end up at, because they're not done. And this is the problem of not having a contract. We don't know where they're going to be, where we're going to be when they are done. They could take this thing up to the $250,000, and what are we going to do about it?
Well, right now, the receipts that I've seen in looking at it, there's two that are over 50,000. And I think at the 50,000 threshold, the requirement is to get like 3 bids, if I recall correctly.
That was 150.
If you're viewing the painting is separate from the furniture and so forth, so the furniture side was like 70,000 now, I think. And the Knox painting invoices are 70,000.
okay, so,
They were all for different rooms is how Dana and Holly were looking at it, and that's part of it, and, but I'm just saying, not all of the work hits the $50,000 level, I don't think.
Is it 50 or 150?
I thought it was,
That was 150. Is it
I
50? I thought it was 150. Maybe I'm misunderstanding.
I think you're right.
I think it's 150. I don't think it's 50.
it's more than 50.
Yeah.
Now, we have,
We approved quite a bit of stuff that's less than
Used to
150.
be 50. They changed it.
we have actually paid, 23,120 to Knox in March and May. And then we have the ones that so we have what, 16,629 some change are the two that were denied last time, 2 weeks, or whenever we were.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Now I have another one, 16-3.
We have another one this week?
Yes,
Is it the same one from last time they got denied?
No, it's the same ones.
it's a different
Wait.
number. 009432, 15,300. Right below Haney's Glass, 1490.
Well, the glass is
I'm
different.
looking.
You're looking at glass.
He said below it.
Below Haney's Glass,
What was the amount, 16 something?
15.3.
That's the one of them that you denied last time. There was a 15.3 that you denied last time, and there was a
Okay,
1,300 something.
that was part of that.
Those are the same two that you denied last time
Come back again.
that are going back in.
So you're saying we paid 23,120?
So far.
So far, and we have 16,629 denied 2 weeks ago. The same two are in right now, still needing to be approved to be paid.
And I just want to point out that the council did appropriate this money last year when we did the budget for this year. And Dana is following the same process that was used both by Lita, Susan, and Sandy in the remodeling of their offices, which is preservation of the courthouse.
I have to remind you that the commissioners were aware, and that was brought to the commissioners, all three of those other ones. As I recall, I know the treasurer's was, and Lita's was also. This one was like, slid under the radar.
It was
No,
it
this-
was in the budget.
This one, they came to the commissioners told them, if the council will fund it, you can do it. So they went to the council at budget time to ask if they would be willing to fund it so they could do it. They asked the commissioners first.
We got the minutes that shows that.
I will have to dig them up, but that's why they went and asked the council if they would fund it before getting any quotes.
I think the bigger picture here is, why is the department heads dealing with the maintenance of the courthouse and not having Larry taking care of all this? I think this should fall underneath Larry, and he should be the one that's going through the process of overseeing the maintenance and the repairs and the upgrading of all the facility of the courthouse. It shouldn't fall on Dana or Lita or Susan, or who else did you say? I'm sorry.
Sandy.
Sandy. I think if Larry's in charge of it, then we can have professional services set up with the painters and glasses to know what it's going to cost us, how much it's going to cost us, not to exceed these things, because and then all the contracts can be brought to us to be signed, because the contracts do need to come to commissioners, because it's all under our preview, but the numbers aren't over the 150, which, did you look that up, Andrew? Is that correct? The 150 is the threshold?
As I understand it, that for the official closed bidding process, 150, I think, but there's a statute that says for purchases of 50 to 150, the purchasing agent should invite 3 quotes from businesses to be known to be in the field,
Okay.
basically. So I mean,
And I think
So it would just be quotes, it's not an official
bid process.
RFP
until
or
150,000.
whatever that's called.
And as I understand the statutes in Indiana, the commissioners are the ones that the state has said control the building and are in charge of providing a clerk's office, auditor's office, they're supposed to provide these offices. So theoretically, they're the ones that should be in charge of contracting it. But it sounds like for whatever reason, for the last several decades, the county office holders have been the ones that have been planning their own redecorations and upkeep.
Yeah, and that,
For whatever reason.
I strongly disagree with having the elected officials taking charge of that. That should be, we have Larry now who is in charge of
Maintenance
for the whole county. He should be the one that should be in charge of this. He's the one that knows all the contractors to reach out to. I'm assuming Dana reached out to him to get some of these people that we're working with.
They did. I talked to Holly and Dana, and they did
think
reach out to Larry.
It should be, everything else going forward with the courthouse repairs and remodels should be falling underneath Larry. And that way he can bring all these datas and stuff to us.
Yes, and this was brought up a year ago, 2 years ago, and I had told the commissioners, shouldn't say I told them, I reminded them that they are above Larry. Larry is a department head that would report to them, and that one of the commissioners, or all of the commissioners, would need to let him know what they're wanting him to do in that aspect. Because for decades, it's been individual offices, which is why it's all
Mishmash.
hodgepodge when things get done. But if he is not directed by his superiors, then not a lot is going to change.
And it allows for a better plan of the courthouse too, because elected officials come and go depending on cycles. And if Larry's here as a department head, he can be here for a while and he can have that plan of like, this is what we're gonna do, and slowly implement. And he's always in charge of making sure things are running smoothly.
And prescribe what needs to be done next.
Yeah.
What's the next project we ought to be looking at, saving money for, and so forth.
And he now has the other maintenance guys. You know, before it was Larry, Larry, and Larry.
Yeah. So, I think this is one of those ones that kind
What
of.
do we need to do to get that, implement that, get that in motion?
I think you guys need to decide what exactly you're wanting him to do, and then as his superiors, you...
We've already decided,
What if
we
you-
need to decide.
I know, but I
What
didn't know
if
if you
you-
wanted more, is what I was saying.
What if you just bring Larry in 2 weeks, if you have time on your schedule, and talk it through with him? How would this look to have him do this? And then kind of make a policy after you've talked with Larry and made your decision.
I think it's a good plan.
Yeah, I think him coming up with a plan of just over the next 5 years, what to do with the courthouse and what needs to be fixed.
Now, I've got one more question, and it's a what if.
Yes.
How far are they, what stage are they in this process of remodeling? Where are we at? We halfway done, we 2/3 done?
I'm not sure.
Because the question
Let me
is,
think.
what if we get done and we're over the 150,000? And we don't have a commissioner signed contract?
I will see if I can, I believe that I think they already have 2 of the 3 done.
Yeah,
They got more than that listed on the list.
I think they're at least 70% done, at least.
I haven't got a chance to go in there and look, so I can't give you.
They are 80% done.
Shakes my head with Dave.
Okay.
They're 80% done.
Oh, so the 70,000, okay, so they're 80% done. Well, I mean, I have not, I think I did a little bit of research on this. I have done definite thinking about this situation here. Got into it after my week of vacation here last week. Bill had given me a heads up on it, I think, right before I went on vacation. I would have to research it a little bit more to see what happens if that threshold is reached. I think that you can also have maybe differing interpretations of whether something is an entire project or separate projects. The general rule, as I understand it, is you're not allowed to artificially separate things to make them artificial separate projects. But then the question is, well, what does that mean? And have there been any lawsuits or cases that have gone up on appeal on that issue of what is a legitimate separate project and what is not? And I will see if I can do a little bit of research on that to see what happens if that threshold happens to be breached or passed.
I think the only thing we can really do right now is pay the claims that they've claimed, because that's work that they've done, that they're paying claims for. We could stop them from working going forward until we figure that out. It's about the only thing we can really do. I don't want to not pay them for the work that they've already done in there, because I feel like these are claims that of work that they've done. And I don't want to be that county that doesn't, you know what I mean? I want to make them get paid. But we can also ask them to stop until we get this figured out, or we just let them finish it up and see where it falls into, and go forward with a new plan of, from now on, Larry's in charge of remodels, maintenance, construction at the courthouse. And then that way, he knows the process, he'll come to us, we'll have it set up, we can have professional services, just like Ben comes with professional services, not to exceed this amount of whatever it is a year, and then we can also budget for that. The council can budget, hey, this is how much we're gonna give you a year to work on the courthouse. That way we don't have these big projects that are just showing up randomly whenever something happens.
And it may be that since we're 80% done with the project, that that you could take the position of making the best argument you can that it was separate projects and separate portions that didn't need to be bid out. Because that's, right or wrong, that's what the, that's what the clerks were thinking about in doing that. And if the work is already done, you might want to just take the position to avoid problems that, we support that and then change policy going forward.
Yeah.
So kind of
I think
80% is a
probably,
rough position to be at and not be done.
we probably need to change Larry's job description. It'll have to be modified to reflect those responsibilities, obviously.
Isn't he head of all facilities?
He is head, but to give him that authority, he needs to have a change of job description, in my mind.
We'll have to look at his job description, because most of them all say, have the clause in it, and other duties as assigned. So like, I could assign one of my deputies a different duty than what's listed, and it still qualifies for their description, and you guys would be having him do another.
I still think we need a job description change.
That's fine, we can look at that.
So that's a whole
Make it
different,
official. Going forward, it's in black and white. So we run into this question again, who has the authority, who has the final say? Other than job description, that's my opinion.
and that's a whole nother process that we'll have to work with HR.
That's right.
Well, I don't know that you want to give up your final say,
Right.
No.
Larry,
That's the
or
other
anybody
thing.
else. I mean,
And that's why it's got to
projects.
be in the job description, who has the final say, who brings it to us, who gathers the information, and that needs to be, they need to be spelled out. Otherwise, we'll run this thing again 10 years down the road.
No, I agree. I think we can more of make it very clear of who's in charge of taking care of the courthouse, and not having elected officials who don't really want to do it, I don't believe. And that way Larry, who is the expert in the field, can take care of the situation, because he's the one that has to do all the maintenance on it, so he knows what needs to get taken care of and what doesn't need to be taken care of.
Okay.
So,
The bill is correct, the job description should be changed. But also, when we're budgeting for this type of thing in the future, it should also fall under the courthouse, not the clerk's office or the auditor's office or whatever. It belongs in the courthouse budget, which is a commissioner budget.
Right. Okay.
Well, we're 80% complete. Number one, we need to pay the contractors the work they've done. To me, that's a no-brainer. And we need to finish the project. I don't want to leave a project at 80% and not complete it. I also agree that it probably would make more sense to have somebody like Larry be in charge of this going forward. It would be probably a good thing, and agree with Kellen that, we all change, but at least there'd be something concrete that says, moving forward, this is the process, which apparently we don't have right now.
No.
So with that, pardon me?
Go ahead.
With that, I'd make a motion to pay the claims as presented, including the two that were not paid 2 weeks ago, per our minutes from our 2 weeks ago meeting.
I'll second that.
We got to eliminate, we can't play the claim twice. You can't add in to 2 weeks ago.
If we play the claims as presented now, it should be fine.
We're good. He just meant the ones that we
I
denied
know
2
what he
weeks
meant.
ago.
I know what he meant.
Yep,
I know
we
what's
got
going
it.
on.
We just need to do the ones that are presented now, because they send them back in again.
So do you withdraw your motion in second?
Yes.
Yes.
To make it clear, okay.
Pay the claims as presented then. I just want to make sure those two were
Yeah,
included.
yeah.
Yep.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and second on the floor. Additional comments? Comments from the public? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Minutes.
So move to accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
I have a correction on the minutes. County Road 14, states in the minutes 35 to 41, it should be 35 to 39.
Oh,
And with there was.
is that
a
in the
motion-
highway?
I believe there was a motion on that. You make a motion, Kellen?
Meaning 2
You
weeks.
made the motion.
Hmm?
Did we make a motion or did we just agree to it?
I was
Because
thinking
you
there
wanted
was a
it to
motion.
do a full audit and I agreed with you. Was it a motion? I can't remember.
Don't think we made a motion.
May not have.
I think we just talked
Consensus?
about it and gave direction to
Consensus?
Ben. I think it was consensus to Ben. I don't think it was a motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
What the road number is?
Okay, so 30, between 35 and County Road 39.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. You and I have a motion on the floor, a second. Additional comments? Comments from the public?
The motion was to accept the minutes, and then there was, are you making a motion to amend the motion?
Yes.
All right. Is there a second on that?
I'll second that.
Okay. Just clarifying
Okay.
for voting.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Okay, moving on down the line here. Dart van title signature. Got a title to, need a motion,
Okay, so who motion, or who seconded Bill's motion
I
to
did.
amend?
Ellen did.
Ellen did.
Okay, sorry. Yes, so they are going to be getting ready, one of their vans will need a motion to have Bill sign the title.
I would so move.
I'll second.
A motion, a second to sign the title for the van to be sold. Additional comments? Comments from the public? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
Wasn't there something with the DART vans that there's a federal requirement that they sell it a certain way or something? You remember that from their,
Let me see.
you know, because they're getting federal funds from Medicaid for the purchase of the vans. Hopefully they're following that, I would think.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's through their
Through
audit
their
piece
end,
of it, yeah.
Right.
We just pass the money through.
I just thought of that since it was brought up as a DART van.
Yeah.
situation, so. Okay.
Okay, next we have the January 1 to June 30th, 2025 commissary report. A chance to look at that report? Any problems, corrections?
Just a comment, maybe just on clarification, I guess. So the 63,000 is what they received, and then they spent 59,000, is that correct? They made a total of 4 roughly? Okay. That's all, I was just double checking, making sure I had understood how to read this.
Sure.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
A motion, a second on the floor. Additional comments? Comments from the public?
Just a comment, I believe that the new state law that took effect July 1 is going to require these commissary reports every quarter now?
I believe so. Yeah, it was every 6 months, yeah.
This is, these commissary reports throughout the state have been a big controversy. And so that's the one thing the legislature did do, is make it so that they have to submit them quarterly. And I believe there might even be some bid requirements on some things. Because up till now, they've pretty much had carte blanche. They could spend it on whatever they thought might belong to the jail or be accommodated to the jail or the sheriff's department. But there are some additional rules on it now.
Yeah, I haven't read
And
that.
I don't remember what those were exactly, but you'll see these more frequently now.
Yeah, I'm gonna get all of that in 2 weeks when we have auditors conference. Yeah.
Okay, have fun.
So I'll be able to talk more intelligently.
Thank you, Rick. Okay. Motion to accept.
I made the motion already.
I second.
Made a motion second. Yeah, you did, didn't you? Senior moment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I oppose. Motion carries. Okay, St. Joe Spencerville Regional Sewer District Board appointment. You get any information on that, Susan?
No, I have not heard back from them, but I'll just hold it, we'll just do it for the council, since they directed it to the council. I haven't heard back. So if they made a mistake, then I'll just bring it back in 2 weeks.
Okay.
'Cause I don't remember, unless anybody, well, Andrew might. Do you know which person they were replacing? Rick might.
Oh,
Dwyer is who they were, okay, so then it was just me just scanning it to you guys, because that's what I'm used to. So I'll just take it to council.
Yeah, and hopefully they have a recommendation.
They gave one here.
they did make a recommendation.
Yeah, they were recommending Lynn.
Okay. Okay.
You guys can go ahead and sign that page of the minutes, because it doesn't involve where I'm changing it.
Real quick, the OCA Form 8, Section 3, compliance signature.
Yes, so Mike Kleinpeter, he emailed, let everybody know that every 6 months they have to submit a report showing how many hours have been spent working on the project. And so he is sending the Form 8, and we'll have an approval for Bill to sign. He said they have not started construction yet, but did have a pre-construction meeting last week, so things are moving in the right direction.
They're going to break ground in August. August last I heard. Make the motion.
I'll second.
A motion second on the floor. Additional comments? Comments from the public? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, oppose? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Real quick. Jim brought to my attention, he's got space study on the list. We have a representative here from Elevitis concerning the space study. We want to do something with that at this time instead of holding him up
That's it.
couple more hours.
I'm good with it, yeah.
Any recommendations, any thoughts on who you want to go with?
Have him come up and talk first, I guess, and then we can have a conversation. If you're okay with that.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
No, just make sure the light's on, and you're good.
Here it is. So my name's Tony Vine. I'm an architect with Elevatus Architecture. where we specialize in doing public works projects, particularly a lot of work with the counties. Worked a lot with DeKalb County in the past, and just wanted to introduce myself. I know the two commissioners here on the right. I haven't met yet personally. Bill and I go way back, and actually done some projects with Rick in a former life. So I'm just here to answer any questions. If you had any questions about our proposal, I think that maybe there was some ambiguity about a reimbursable cost in our proposal that I wanted to clear the air and just say, I'll just make it easy and eliminate that altogether. If that helps evaluate the proposals next to each other. With that, I don't want to take a lot of your time. I'm just here for any questions.
I'll go ahead and talk. I appreciate that you're willing to get rid of that. However, I'm going to stick with the bid process, and we have to go off the 3 bids that you gave us, and that was in the 3 bids. I know it was told to me that it was kind of an oversight, but end of the day, we have to respect the 3 bids that were presented to us at the time of what was presented. And because I don't want to have people coming in after the fact and be like, hey, this is what we're going to change around, because Ox and the other one, I can't think of the other company, doesn't have a chance to come in, and then we have this whole bit back and forth process, structure point. And so you just have to go off the bids that you were presented to us at the time. So that's how I'm going to base my information off of. So,
Sure.
But I do appreciate you coming in and talking to us.
Comment.
No, she's not. She's not.
Okay.
I'm okay if we want to just make, my recommendation would be Ox. For the space study, they were at 60,000, no reimbursables. Structure Point was at 72, 74, I can't remember what they were. Plus another 4,000 reimbursables. Yeah. It would end up being at 77,060. And then it would be unknown with Levitas because of the mileage and meal reimbursement and all that stuff. So that would be my motion, is to accept Ox as our space study consultant. Ox Agency, I think it's the exact name.
I would like to just point out that,
Hang on, Rick.
okay,
It's like, that's my motion, so.
Do I have a second on Oxy?
Well, I'll make a second just so we can have more discussion.
Okay. A motion is second on the floor. Further discussion? Discussion, commissioners first.
Okay. My thought is that I like the 60,000 bid. That certainly is nice, but one of these other 2, I feel, are more qualified than Ox. The Space Study Committee thought the same process when we met last Monday, that there just doesn't seem to be the expertise from the Ox agency that the other 2 have provided. They certainly have a lot more experience. That's my thought.
Okay. I will second Kellen's motion.
Yeah, second on
You
that.
did second.
Yeah. Just have a discussion.
Comments from the public?
just that I understand what Kellen is saying as far as the low bid, but the rule does not depend on low bid. Low bid or best bid. And unfortunately for the low bidder, I don't believe that there is any kind of justification or recommendation from people that have used this company for this process in the past. That the better 2 bids are the Elevitis bid and the other one. So I would suggest that if you can't, that you not make the decision today, but you get some better evaluations of this low bid before you would award it to this person. Because what this plan will do is plan our building and cost for probably the next 5 to 10 years. We're going to depend on this plan for a quite a long time, because we know that all that might come out of it certainly can't be funded right away. I mean, it just isn't going to happen. So it's got to be a good bid. It's got to be one that will have endurance. That it'll change a little bit, certainly, but we need to have something that will stand the test of time if we're going to spend any money at all on this. So I would suggest if that without having any kind of recommendations from people that have used them before, that you delay your vote for 2 weeks and get some more information on this low bid.
I'd like to make a comment that actually Ox presented more detail on what this study is about. This study is not about the buildings. It's not about what the buildings will look like. It's about what leads us to the requirement of what buildings we need, what buildings we might need to switch over to a different function. And I thought Ox was well qualified to present it with great detail what we need to know to make this next decision. And so that's my thought on it. And given that, I'll call for the vote. I'm going to call for the vote now. We're not going to push it down the road. I've got everything I need. I think evidently Kellen does too. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 2-1. Okay, let's jump down to Nick Heine, nanotechnology.
One,
We coming to?
I will contact them, if that's all right. I will contact.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
Are we going to now, Bill? I'm sorry.
Metal Tech.
Oh, Meltech, okay.
Is that Heine or Haney? Haney, I did have it.
Oh,
Is that mic on?
Green light on.
Blue. Just click the gray bar there.
There we go.
I would
Good to go?
I guess
There
a
you go.
background for anybody that's watching.
Yes, please.
Okay. We're here because the county requested to purchase a small parcel of property owned by Metal Technologies Auburn, our foundry on Auburn Drive down there. The property has a assessed value, or I'm sorry, a survey valuation of about $8,000. The goal is to straighten out Deal Road, County Road 23, to avoid some of the sharp, tight radiuses there that have caused accidents in the past. I believe the county does not wish to obtain a survey on the property, which would be about $800 to $1,000, so 10 to more % of the purchase price. Andrew and I have traded some emails back and forth. We have offered a limited warranty deed to convey the property to the county, where MTI would represent that anything while we have owned that property, we would be fully responsible for. But in that property's former life, which was acquired out of bankruptcy over a quarter century ago, if there were to be some defect in title on that small, narrow piece of property conveyed to the county, that would not be something MTI would be responsible for. As an alternative, we've also proposed to give a general warranty deed, but cap our exposure at $10,000. So our position is we're happy to do this. We just don't want to have sort of unbounded liability for such a small piece of property being conveyed to the county for this circumstance.
My advice to the county basically has been that while, and I don't know if I put it exactly this way, but while I understand about the bankruptcy issue and the unbounded liability issue, I don't agree that we shouldn't be asking for a general warranty deed. It seems to me like they invested all of, Metal Technologies' money into this property, and if there's some, so like they built their building there on this property, and if there's some issue, then all of the mortgage holders, if there are any stockholders and so forth, invested all these multi-million dollars on a piece of property that has some questionable issues prior to the ownership of Metal Technologies. I guess I don't agree that that's a serious enough issue for Metal Technologies that they shouldn't just do a general warranty deed. I think that it would be important for the county to get a regular corporate general warranty deed here. I have not, in my experience, seen anything like this proposed. I understand why they're doing it. The decision would be up to you three as commissioners if you want to just go ahead and grant this and agree to it. I mean, that's up to you. I still don't feel comfortable with those limitations.
What was the other thing called? You're suggesting corporate general warranty deed, and what was the warranty
We've offered
thing?
two options. A general warranty deed that would insulate the county from whatever happened from the beginning of time up to today, up to a maximum of $10,000, and that was just our initial proposal.
Okay.
Or a limited warranty deed where MTI would have unlimited responsibility for the period of time it owned that property. Again, as Andrew noted, we did acquire the property out of bankruptcy. The building was there, restarted its operations. We certainly know what happened while we owned the property. We don't necessarily know what happened when prior owners or when that was farm field way back when. I will say, in my experience, limited warranty deeds are quite common in real estate transactions where a bankruptcy has been involved at some point in that chain of title, simply because you've essentially cut off all liability from prior grantors, and people generally don't want to assume responsibility for something that they may have no control over. Again, a survey would potentially mitigate all of these issues. However, it is more than 10% of the purchase price, which strikes, I think, all of us maybe as the not necessarily most cost-effective course of action in this circumstance.
Well, there was some sort of a survey to delineate off where the land would be.
I think yeah, but I don't think it was an Alta survey that would identify any potential prior easements or anything like that.
The piece of property that we're looking at, it's not attached to the building on what it shows on Beacon. It's a separate parcel. Am I misunderstanding this?
I don't know the answer to that. I know it's in front of the building, on the road.
It's actually, I think, on the east side. It's
East
far,
side.
far away from,
and-
you've got the foundry, the pond, and then this is essentially, I mean, you can see truck tracks through there. People drive through it fairly regularly.
This is what you want, right, Ben? Let me just verify something real quick. That property, right there, you want it, this is that last time, you want to make it go straight.
Yep.
This
Yeah,
is,
we're just taking a little parcel right
it's a
along,
touchscreen, yeah.
yeah, right along through here. So we had that surveyed off for that parcel here.
Yeah, the parcel is south, pretty far, it's, I don't want to say pretty far, but it's decently.
If you don't mind, I'll
Yeah.
I was going to try to find the survey picture.
Yeah, this is, up here's MTI, it's down here, this is the parcel he wants to buy and go straight down.
We're not even taking the whole parcel, we're just taking a sliver.
Well, I thought, so what's,
There's three
what's
parcels
below?
there, I think, that was included.
That's the.
That's the big metal,
No,
No.
that's this storage unit, this is,
okay.
up here is all them.
Oh, okay.
I think you were thinking it was right here.
Correct.
It's down here to this little,
Okay.
I mean, it's like, I don't even, that area's even farmed in that spot, is
There
it?
used to be a home on that parcel.
Because the farmland's down south here, and that's a whole different parcel here.
Okay.
Yes,
know what I'm talking
Maybe I
about?
was thinking it
is
was on a
grass.
different area of the road. but still.
Yeah, so to me, I mean, I doubt there'd be any real issues there.
Yeah, so I mean, if you, that's fine.
You know what we're talking about, Bill? Do you need, okay, I thought you did. So, to me, I don't see there'd be, I mean, you guys haven't developed down there really at all.
No.
You just kind of bought it just for like a
Correct.
buffer zone,
With
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
so.
So I mean, if you want to go ahead with it, risk is probably pretty low at that point. I guess the only other thing that could be on the property is if it was that part of the old landfill or was that different land?
I don't believe so. I think
No,
that
it
it's
was
so
a
far from the
farmhouse was all
foundry.
there.
Okay.
No landfill there.
So it might have you could look at it and say there's a very low risk of anything prior to that. I think the bankruptcy clears out most of that risk of ownership, doesn't it, from the court order of the bankruptcy court?
Could, I mean, again, this is just like you said, there's a very, very small risk here. I think we would all agree that that's the case, right? We can
Yes.
eliminate that risk by spending $1,000 or more on a survey, which probably isn't the most efficient course of action. I'm just asking for a limit to our exposure, given that the efficient course from my viewpoint is not to go spend the money on a survey for that small, narrow parcel far, far away that's only ever been farmland, I think.
So I mean, I'll leave it up to you.
Ben, do you have any thoughts you'd like to share?
And as far as that, no, I don't have any concerns that I'm aware of, but that goes back to legal, that's why we rely on them, so. There was a home on that property, been several years. The home was tore down, whether it was buried there or hauled out, I wasn't around to confirm that. But the property's clean now. It is got the old railroad bed behind of it. You know, but I'm not aware of any issues or anything that I'm concerned of.
And part of the problem is we're talking about a sliver of that property, and you can do phase one environmental test, but that doesn't warrant it on a little sliver typically, that sort of thing. So.
I assume you have an estimate of what that project will cost? Change that road? At this point, not yet.
I figured it up at once, but I don't remember what that was, Bill.
What it was.
This has been in the works for a couple of years, so.
Right.
I planned on doing all that in-house, so our cost was minimal, just labor and material.
Yeah.
There is a utility in there that we'll have to coordinate with the utility company and have relocated. That could potentially come some cost on us, but I don't think it will, but there's a possibility of that.
I'm fine with it. I don't think there's gonna be too much risk to. Fine with
One with his
the limited
recommendation.
deed.
You're talking about, you're good with the limited deed.
Your thoughts?
Pardon me?
Do we have one?
Have one.
That's what they've been back and forth on trying to figure out what kind of way we want to do it.
You want to make a motion?
Need a motion on that? Or do we just,
To approve that, I think you need a motion to approve their proposed whichever way, which is probably the limited warranty deed is what?
is that the one you're comfortable with of the two?
I view them pretty similar. I guess if you're asking me what my preference would be on them, and I would say, maybe the general warranty deed cap at 10,000?
I'll make that motion then.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion and second on the floor. Additional comments? Comments from the public? All those
Okay.
in favor signify by saying aye.
I have a question. So who creates this then? Because won't both parties have to sign?
No, they would need to sign. I don't know, did you prepare a proposed deed before?
Yes, I think I sent that to you in January, I think. I've got a copy of it here.
Did you send I can't remember if you sent both, or I know you at least sent one of the deeds.
Yeah, I've got a copy here if you'd like to see
Okay,
that.
sure. Yep, I remember you had done that. Let's see, corporate warranty deed. Yes, so basically, we would have, here's the copy of it, and they would be the ones signing it.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any additional comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for coming in, Nick.
Okay. Well, we're just moving right along, down to the EMS contract. Alan, what you got for us?
Send over to Andrew to take a look at it. He had some questions.
Yes, if I can just finish up my notes real quick on this. Okay, great. And then go back over here to the EMS contract. I reviewed it.
Okay, before you do that, I'm sorry. So they're gonna sign that warranty deed, then will they bring it
Then we'll
to
have,
my transfer side like normal, or is it coming to me?
they'll probably get it maybe to me, and then
Okay.
we'll get it to you for the recording process, and then we'll have to pay them the money for it as well.
Okay, so the money amount is all in that,
The money amount may not be in the deed. I'll have to look at that. I'll make a note. It was whatever the, and we'd have to see if the commissioners have approved that money amount
okay.
at this
I'll,
point too.
I'll make a note and look back.
We may be just preliminarily figuring out what kind of deed we were gonna get before, or there may have been a vote 6 months ago on you guys approving the amount of money for it as well. I think Metal Technologies
I
has
don't
said
remember
they
making a
approved.
vote on how much it was.
I'll look back.
I was just okay with that deed,
Right.
and what the deed
That would
that.
have been before you guys. It would have been
you guys.
before.
Okay.
Yeah, and I
I'll look
think,
back.
I think there was some sort of discussion about the amount of money.
I felt like it was already taken care of.
To us.
Yeah.
I think there were appraisals done on it already.
I think it was, like you said, he's been working on it for a couple of years.
Okay.
I think the agreement was made, but they didn't know what kind of deed they wanted.
Correct. That's what I think too, but, okay. All right, I'm just making note here, agreement made, and commissioner approval. Okay, so
All set?
you've asked me, yes, all set. So the contract with the EMS, I reviewed it. One question I had is about contracting for emergency medical services within the city of Auburn. That was one question I had because there's a statute that was quoted in the contract. I looked up the statute and it said we can only provide emergency services within the city if the city consents to it. And I just was asking the question, has the city consented to it? Does this contract, I think, covers the whole county as I understand it?
Is that how it's been done in the past? I mean, this is,
Having probably more experience on that than anybody.
I think I saw your picture on the paper.
You did.
So, yeah.
If there was ever an agreement for, to provide within the cities, it would have happened back in 1974 and 75.
Right.
Nothing has ever been addressed on that since, and I don't know that the law has changed.
Right.
You know, it was at, the commissioners at the time, consulting with the different towns, decided to take on the project in total.
But it covers
as
the
did-
entire county, yeah.
Covers the entire county, same thing that Noble County did, Whitley County, LaGrange, all of them.
Right. I just thought it was, I mean, that statute was brought up in the contract, so I thought it'd be a good idea for me to look up the statute and see if consent had happened.
Well, and a lot of it used to be based on whether it was a second-class or a third-class city, and I don't,
I didn't see anything on that, but
yeah.
maybe.
So anyway, but.
I mean,
I'm
it
sure-
seems to make sense for the
I'm sure
whole
if you said
county.
something to Auburn, they would say, yes, go ahead and cover it, because it'd cost them more money if you didn't.
Right, sure. And so, and I'm assuming it's the same agreement that's been in place in prior years, similar language?
Similar, and Kellen had asked me a couple weeks ago about the dollar amount. Personally, I think the dollar amount's very appropriate. The only thing I wanted to make sure that we were clear on is that the county is only paying for emergency services. We are not paying for providing transportation between Parkview facilities. That is internal to their organization. We're providing emergency services, period.
So, and the question that I had, and something I know I heard come up, is the idea of in this contract, and maybe it's okay with the county, commissioners, council, whatever, but this contract is really not enforceable in the number of ambulances that are guaranteed to be in the county. It's all aspirational. We'll make our reasonable attempt to have 3.5 ambulances. We'll make reasonable effort to have 3 paramedics on duty. That's very difficult to enforce in court, because they could just say it wasn't reasonable for us this week to have 3.5 ambulances because we had one down, or we needed them over in LaGrange, Huntington, and so forth. So just be aware when you're entering into this contract, and it may be the same language we had for prior years, but there's no guarantees in here that are enforceable, and that always makes me a little concerned.
Well, and those situations that you just described do happen. They've always happened. All 3 trucks are busy. They're all transporting out of the county, and you're liable to be left without one. The typical that happens in those situations, though, and we've always done it, is you contract with, you have mutual aid from another county.
Right.
So Noble County would send a truck over this direction, or Steuben County would send a truck down. Back then, the EMS director had a lot of control over that. Now that this is all within Parkview, and these are all Parkview EMS, you don't have as much control over it as you used to. But if they were to practice best practice, they would move ambulances closer to the area that isn't covered at that particular time. So,
As we saw in Texas, they do have these catastrophic events. And obviously, you know, they're going to have to respond to that.
absolutely.
We have to understand that. And like you say, I'm confident they will cover us the best they can. But whether that happens or not may never happen. But it's still, it can happen. But we just have to kind of live with that possibility, I suppose. It's not.
Well, and this is where I don't know if, I mean, and obviously you're right, with emergencies it can happen. I just don't know if the situation is they chronically only have 2 in the county, or they usually have 3.5.
They
And
did
it's
have-
only rarely that it's less than 3.
They did have an issue with staffing. There's a paramedic shortage throughout the country. This isn't Indiana, it's not even our county, but they are back to full staff that I understand, and they're taking care of it. They're also going to add a 4th truck on to help with making sure we have good coverage here.
Well, it sounds like they're working on it then to keep things, okay.
And I met with the current administrator out here at the hospital, and I've talked to Kellen about this. I think if you were to talk to people within the county that have had experience with EMS lately, yes, there are issues, but I believe the biggest issue, and we're debating it as to whether or not I'm right or they're right, but since we no longer dispatch the ambulance from Central Communications, it's actually, they get the call and they transfer the call to the Parkview dispatcher. So I say that causes a delay, they say it doesn't, and we're debating that. But these are all issues that, and I believe Kellen sits on this committee that will review these things quarterly.
Yes.
Is that the oversight committee?
Yes.
Because that was
Yeah.
my
I'm on
next
that.
question. Do we have an oversight committee? Has that been implemented?
So that committee is going to be very important to make sure that DeKalb County is getting the best response possible from the contractor.
Right. And they can report back to the commissioners, or Kellen can report back and say, hey, they're either meeting it most of the time or they're not. And I don't know the answer to that question, so, okay.
Yeah, they'll provide all that data for us.
And the sheriff's on that board too, so.
Well, that's great. I'm glad. I just didn't know if that committee existed or not when I looked at it.
And the reason that is critical is for the outlying, I don't think I worry so much about Auburn, because Auburn does have full-time staff in their fire department, but that's critical for those fire departments in the outlying areas where you have an extended response time, because they're sending their fire department, they have an expense for doing that. So it's going to be important to those townships and towns that have their own fire department. So, but we have always depended on the fire department. And Kellen can attest to that in the years that he worked for EMS, all of my years involved with EMS, we have always depended on the fire departments. They are a valuable asset.
Okay. Well, no, these are good answers to these questions. I'm glad. Because this is the first time that I've been reviewing an EMS contract and new to this. The only other issue is DeKalb needs a capital K. I'm just a little stickler for that.
Yeah, I saw that too. And then it's only for 3 years. They want to reevaluate in 3 years. That's why it's not automatically renewed.
That's why what?
Not automatically renewed after 3 years.
Okay,
It's just
yeah,
a
I
3-year
think that's a
contract.
good, I actually think that's a good thing, as we know with other contracts, that the automatic renewal is a problem, so. Based upon that, then I'm fine with it if you guys are.
You guys have any comments?
Yeah, I have, well, a question for Andrew. What is, if it comes back from this committee that they're not meeting the expectations of the contract, do we have any recourse?
First recourse would be probably publicizing it, making the public aware of that problem. The other recourse, I don't know that you have, I did not see recourse in there other than non-renewal of the contract or changing it the next year, because if it's, I guess I don't see that it's breach of a contract to have 2 ambulances instead of 3.5. I mean, it is if that's their permanent plan. You could argue breach, but they could argue back, we can't help it financially. We can't help it. You could end up in litigation over that. So But if we're comfortable with the good faith effort they're making, then that's up to you guys if you want to take that risk. That may be the best option we have as a county.
One thing I would suggest for any future negotiations, and I had talked to a previous commissioner about this. Unfortunately, I really didn't talk to Kellen about this at all, but you would be in a much more powerful position if you and the other counties that Parkview EMS covers would go in as a group rather than individual. I mean, they've got LaGrange, Noble, DeKalb, Whitley, Huntington, now Fulton. I believe they've got part of Wabash. So if you would all go in together, you would be in a much more powerful position than you are individually.
Okay,
I like that idea.
a motion,
Make a motion to accept the EMS contract for 3 years with a $300,000 the first year, $325,000 the second, and $350,000 the third.
I'll second that.
a motion second on the floor. Additional comments? Additional comments from the public? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
So I will go through and fix our name and then get you the page to sign,
Okay,
okay?
okay, sounds good. Looks like I got about 6 minutes. You want to try to clean up this 911 service and software license agreement? I think it's pretty straightforward. A lot of pages, though,
A lot of pages.
25.
Yeah.
Always leery of those long,
Yeah.
lengthy
You
agreements.
look at it, Andrew.
I did. Let me find my notes on that. Okay. It's a 5-year contract with automatic 1-year renewals unless you do a written notice to non-renew at least 90 days prior to the expiration of the then current term. No sub-licensing of the software is allowed to anyone else. I did discuss that the contract says that the pricing is confidential. But obviously as a public entity, pricing cannot be confidential, so I think I emailed Brian Humbarger back about that. I'm not sure what the status of that is. I think that, let's see. I did have a little bit of a concern about a 90-day warranty on the software, but BASA said that's common in the industry for just a 90-day warranty on the software. So if it's common in the industry, it's probably something we're stuck with. Damages under the contract are limited to what you spend on the price of the software, and that, again, I've seen that in other contracts, so we're probably stuck with that as well. So I think I approve the contract, basically. I mean, not saying it's a good contract for you guys to do, but I'm just saying from the legal standpoint.
Legal standpoint.
Brian just let me know that he's waiting for a response from InDigital.
About the,
From InDigital about
I mean, if
what?
they deal with government agencies, they have to understand that everything is disclosable. I mean, it has to be.
Just a minute, he's typing.
I have gotten a DocuSign on this more than once.
Oh, he just said this is all pending approval by council also.
It's my opinion, I would sure like to see the phrase renewable removed so that it's a 5-year contract period. And make sure that this group, whoever they are, sees that contract at the end of the 5 years instead of it being an automatic renewal.
Agree?
for most contracts, I mean, there may be some reasons why you want automatic renewals in certain contracts, but I would agree with Jim. In this contract and most others, it can be a little dangerous to keep yourself hooked into that. Problem is, most companies put it in their standard contract clauses, and it could be like pulling teeth to get them to change that, but it's worth. You can draw the line in the sand if you want to, yeah, on that clause.
I'm willing to draw that line. I would want the commissioners in 5 years to make sure it happened, that it was not automatically renewed without any thought process into it.
Can we pass this today with that stipulation included?
Yes, you could pass it saying that subject to that, the automatic renewal being removed by the company.
I would prefer to do it,
So-
just table it and have a conversation with them first.
Would you?
Yeah, I'd be.
Yeah, because the only thing I'm concerned about is they're gonna send that DocuSign back to you. So, I mean, I guess if you want to read all the pages, make sure they did what they needed to do.
Is there any tight deadline? I mean, it could be better to wait to make sure the contract is changed unless we have to have this in play as of July 1st
Yeah,
or
well, that was
something.
going to be my next question. Is there a time frame?
I'm asking.
Pardon me?
I'm asking Brian.
Okay.
Because the council still has to approve the dollar amount. So,
Okay. Let's take a break and do the pledge.
So you're tabling that?
yeah.
As of now? Okay.
Table that until we Okay, we are back. We got Kellen back from AWOL.
It said 10:15, 10:15.
Next time he gets court-martialed.
I'm gonna put a tracker on you.
Okay.
Anyways, what do you got for us, Brian?
Mr. Parker, what you got?
Well, I got just an FYI here. I don't think I have to read them, but I'm going to just for the record. I received the LOIs for the countywide bridge inspections for the phase 2026 through 2029. We received one from United Consulting, USI Consultants, Aegis, EGIS, Butler, Fairman, and Seifert, and American Structure Point. So I will get those put together and get those out to the scoring committee, and now I'll have to tally all that together, then that will all get sent to NDOT. This is mostly an NDOT controlled RFP, so we've got some say-so in it, but NDOT's ultimately got the most authority of what they want to fund. And then it will come back to us with their approval, and then we can either approve the firm that was selected, or we can have the right to go to the next firm per the points to how they were scored. You've been through that before.
How often are these inspections?
These is every, our bridges, all bridges are done every 2 years.
So I
Unless it's
think,
got a reduced cycle, then they're on a 12-month cycle, some on a 6-month. We don't have any on a 6-month. We've got one on a 12-month, which is the covered bridge. Everything else is on a 24-month cycle.
okay.
So I'll keep moving forward with that and hopefully have that done here. So I got a set schedule through NDOT. I got to stay on to keep our funding and stuff. So I talked to some of you about a purchase of a truck and a trailer for the highway department. And we was looking at buying a roller to use with our paver. Discussion come up, the trailer and truck we have is not really equipped for that, nor is it equipped for the paver or a lot of other equipment we have. And we really ought to look at a tractor and a lowboy to move a lot of our big equipment around. It'd be a lot safer, more efficient. Efficient's just the timing it takes to even put our paver on there. We've got to build ramps out so much further because we got a over the axle high-rise trailer. That paver does not pick up. And so we got to get planks we buy from the sawmill and blocks and, you know, extend that out. And then the paver hangs off about 6 to 8 inches on each side as you're driving up, and it's kind of nerve-wracking. I've been looking, and before I pursue it much further, I found a lot of them online through Marketplace. I found a really nice truck up in Hamilton, Michigan, and a nice trailer over in Ohio. But before I invest much time in it, I wanted to make sure you guys was on board with that, if it's within my budget. You know, if I could proceed reaching out to these people and looking at it, see if I can come to an agreed price. And then we've purchased before through that. Most everything I'm looking at now, the truck I found is like $45,000. The trailer I believe was 30 something, you know, so, and they're used, so we don't necessarily have to go out for bids or quotes on used equipment. I just wanted to make sure before I invest time in doing that, that you guys were on board or agreed or didn't, so I wanted to bring that up here today. So I really think, you know, there's a lot of other uses for the highway for that. Moving our equipment down, so when we can't repair it, we've had to pay tow bills and things. We can put a dump truck on this trailer and deliver it to Fort Wayne ourselves if we had to. We could haul our own pipe. Have to pay delivery on a lot of them. With like, we've historically been buying from St. Joe, which has worked out great. They've been down for a while due to a mechanical failure on their roller. When and if they get back up and running, we could pick up our own pipe, deliver it to site, save some funds on that. Because now we're hiring that done. We can't have anything to haul that. And with our tractors and things, we actually would have something to move equipment.
Yeah.
You know, we've got a lot of big equipment. Historically, we've hired it or just towed it. I think it would be good, and eventually might even look at a tanker for our sealing oil. Because right now, we borrow one from Pearston. It's sitting on our lot now, just due to getting the oil, the trucks that we need to keep us running in order to get done. They bring us a night load, they drop off, go back, we take this truck out, we unload it, and their other one comes out on site. So it would be something we may want to look at, just to help keep us more efficient, keep us moving. I just get concerned when it's ours, we know how it's inspected, it's maintained, and if we borrow one, I mean, we're hauling hazardous materials and things, I just get nervous. We don't know the maintenance of it. So, but I just wanted to bring that up and see if you guys was in agreement or had any concerns or ideas or.
I think at this point, we just need a consensus. When you find something, then we'll do a vote.
Right.
Do a vote on it.
Within his budget, that's fine with me. Which is, it's in his budget, correct? So that's fine with me.
Okay.
Okay.
It sounds like you eventually will pay for itself or pay towards paying for itself, plus the time,
Right.
the time it could save. And it's all about saving time, time's money.
Okay, that'd be great. Okay, I appreciate that. I will reach out to some of these people then and then start looking and I'll let you know. Okay. The last thing I have is County Road 17 between 11A and 66. I've been getting hit up about, they wanted that converted. I did not want to convert that road until the housing development was done. The roads are supposed to be done this summer. They've contracted Pulvers, and he contacted me last week. It was Brian Rothgeb, and it's also been Mike Westrick been in contact with me. They would like to pay to chip seal the road from 66 just up to San Giovanni entrance and stop at that point. It would have to be done to our specs, I told him, but historically we have never done that. When we do a road, we've always made them do from intersection to intersection, just for liability standpoint.
You said up to where?
San Giovanni Drive entrance to that, and also the new housing development on the west side. And I don't remember what that's called, Susan.
It's right across the,
Yep, right across the street from us.
same drive, or drives across, I believe.
You know, I've never done any of this with letting someone else do the work on our road without us being in control of it. We got a lot of concerns on that, just liability. If there was ever an accident or anything, because it's our road right away, they hire it done, it's all through them, even though it's our spec. It happens in the additions, but they still own the additions till we take it over. This is a different animal. Also, a little bit I'm concerned is that historically we have never allowed that partially and then stopped it. I do get calls for people that want to do that, that live on a gravel road, that want to chip seal from the intersection back past their property. We haven't, historically, we've never done that. And I'm just afraid, even though this is a housing division, if we allow that, we never have in the past. And that concerns me. I like to stay very consistent with what I tell people and how we do policies.
So they're proposing going to their entrance and they pay the total bill and hire a different contractor, hire their own contractor.
From 66 to San Giovanni, yes.
What if
They
we
wanted to
found-
hire Pulver to do it. I don't know what they've thought of. I don't know, because they said it was a lot cheaper for them. I looked at just my cost to do it, and it's $25,000, just materials, to do 1,100 feet.
What's the footage going on north to do the whole section?
1.25 miles, 6,600 feet.
I'd be against having a road stop midway between intersections, going from something to something else. You're gonna cause accidents there. People aren't gonna, they'll be driving, they're gonna not know it's going back to gravel from a chip and seal or whatever. So I would stick to intersection to intersection.
That's why we haven't done it. Because when people pull off of a paved road onto a gravel road, they know they're on gravel. And you can post it gravel ends, but people get going, they don't pay attention. They hit the gravel and, you know, it's just there, we have a few like that, but very few. Just a practice we haven't done. And like I said, and also with allowing people to pay, we've never really done that in the past with a lot of concerns. Just one, the liability of it, and then if they did pay for it and it fails or starts to fail, they're gonna be mad at us, wanting us to pay it, or neighbor down the road just drug equipment across it and destroyed it, and you need to get out there now and fix that, and we paid for that, and it's your guys' decision, and I'll work with whatever we decide, but I've just got a lot of concerns with that.
I'm really concerned with a contractor doing the work instead of our highway department. And what's the standard going to be? Are they going to live up to the standard that we would set? We're going to have to watch them like a hawk, I would assume. I still would rather do the whole road. If they would pay for the materials, we would do the work. We'd supply the labor and the trucking and.
I worked up just us, for us to do it, just materials, looks like it's around 156,000.
That's just materials?
That's just materials.
For the whole 1 point whatever road.
1.25 mile, yep.
They want to put up to 156,000 whole road. County does it, not private contractor.
Would we be willing to cost share any of that material?
I mean, we're cost sharing the labor, having them do it, so that's how I'd look at it.
And equipment.
And equipment
Labor
and
and
stuff. So
equipment.
if they want to pay for the material, I have no problem with us doing it, but they gotta go from intersection to intersection.
One thing that concerns me is us getting it done this year.
Well, I didn't put any time limit.
Right, because
If it doesn't get done this year,
the only way I could is if I contracted some of it out, I would have to have someone else haul all the material in and us apply it. Or, you know, the stone base would be the hardest, someone else have to truck that in. Then I could, you know, so that might change the price some. But then the rest of it we could do, you know, we got a window to do our ceiling. We got our own, and then add any more this time of season is just hard to absorb. We kind of got,
Who's actually requesting to pay for this?
The developer.
Okay.
right, which I don't, I know Brian Rothgeb and Mike Westrick's a part of that, but I don't know development name or anything like that. You know, with conversions, I'm concerned to commit to much at all because I'm running really short on funds. I've already cut projects this year to try to do the maintenance I have. With the Senate bills changing for next year, the up in the air on the wheel tax, the community crossings. I know your guys' lighted tax is gonna change next year, because you guys always has given me $1 million, $1.5 million. I'm just concerned with committing a whole lot to, on not just this road, any road, where I'm gonna be financially. The council's undecided on the wheel tax or the amount, and that won't take place until next year. If they pass it this year, my understanding is we'll start getting disbursements monthly, in our monthly disbursements. Is that correct, Susan? With the wheel tax money?
Say that one more time.
If that goes in effect this year, starting in '26, we'll get payment. But the wheel tax funds, I'll get monthly in my monthly disbursements, or does that come one shot 1 year at the end of the year? Do you know how that's?
No, I think it comes monthly.
I think it does, as people renew their plates.
But it has to be approved by a certain time too to have it go into effect.
It's gotta be passed by September 1st this year. If it's not, we will not get any funds till 27. I'm just concerned with it. That's all, guys.
I got a suggestion, or I got a thought. I'm not so concerned about doing part of that as you fellows are. And we post it, you know, hard surface ends, it's going to turn to gravel if we post it. And because that would reduce the cost quite a bit on their part and our part, if they pay for that material, but we do the work. I don't know. I just don't see that much of a problem with going from hard surface to gravel.
Only other thing with that is if we allow them, we need to allow others that request it, and we haven't.
Well, that's something to look at, if they're willing to pay that cost, that material.
So we'll have more roads that go from gravel to pavement and stop. I mean, thankfully, I haven't seen tort claims in a while, but there for a while, we was getting them things pretty regular,
Yeah.
tort claims.
There's a safety issue that I would not be comfortable with. The intersection to intersection is how I stand on it. I've seen enough with my EMS experience that if you go from a hard surface to a gravel or something, people lose control all the time. Ben can probably back that up with his years in the fire department. I understand trying to help out and try to find ways to help pave some of these roads, but it's got to be intersection to intersection. Because, I mean, even from intersection to intersection, they still have some people that come flying down those roads thinking it's going to be gravel, and they don't see it till the last minute. They fly off the road, and then Andrew's getting a call. And we're opening ourselves up.
Okay.
So
I would agree. Road, it'd have to be.
But I'd be okay with them, if they want to pay for the materials and have our guys do it, at least give it, I mean, I think that's a good idea, but a certain
And I
time
don't
period.
want to put a timeline on that.
I mean, it would be one of them things, we could probably, I don't know whether we would get it sealed this year, but we could, after chip seal's done, everything, we could probably get it stoned and get a lot of it done and ready
Next year.
next year.
Has to
You
be
know.
on your schedule.
I appreciate that, but like I said, I've tried to work with him, it's just a lot of money, you know, so.
Yeah.
So is that,
Throw that out to him, see what he says, I guess. Go from there.
okay. Then the only other thing I wanted to verify is, last week you guys asked me about 14. I went back and I looked through my notes. I had 14, let me think. I think my roads 18, 14, and 12. I was hoping to convert when we did County Road 39. County Road 39 was, I'm hoping to mill and resurface that. It's in a 5-year plan, right? It's within 5 years. But with community crossings changing and then the funding changing, I don't know where I'm going to land. But my original plan was to haul all them millings off that 6 miles road and apply on them 3 roads to convert those at that point.
Right, right.
So, do you want me to still move with 14 as of now, or you want me to wait until we do the 39 project, and then incorporate all 3 of those roads in?
That'd be fine, in my opinion.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It's gonna save us a substantial amount of money, but I
Right,
didn't,
yeah, let's use those millings to do that, absolutely.
but that's my plan. But like I said, with the community crossings, everything changing, because I was gonna hit that up on a community crossings project. But if my funds still come in, and everything still works, and with the wheel tax funds, I'm hoping to still
Yeah,
go in the direction I wanted to go.
yeah, I'm on board with that,
You
totally.
plan to do millings from where?
Off our County Road 39, which is Old 27, from 427 to Bend County.
Okay.
'Cause that's gonna, the next time that road gets redone, it's gonna get a mill and overlay.
And that'll do the base for those other 3 roads to convert.
Because they're each about a mile or just a smidge over. And if we needed any little extra, I'm gonna have some at the yard. You know, I've got all of County Road 35 this year coming to our yard. You know, so I'm gonna have material, but
So your three roads were 14,
18 and 12 was my plan. And that would finish all that for a reasonable amount of money as we get the millings off.
Say 35 goes to the yard, the milling's all 35. What section of 35 is that?
It's from Auburn Drive to County Road 72. We're getting a lot of millings off that.
What if we took some of those to 17? How much could we save?
Well, we're gonna alternate the bid if I did that, though. 'Cause that's all bid through a grant. I'm a little hesitant altering much of that. I don't want to cause any confusion on our bid. I could try to look into it, but it will change the bid price. It'll change our scope of work.
Keep the 17 and use that millions for other roads. We'll have the same savings, depending on where we put the roads at, conversion-wise. Because that's why we had the highway department, we could store all those millions there, correct?
Right.
So, it's not like we're gonna waste those millions, we can put them somewhere else.
Yeah, I've got areas I could use it. I've got some roads I'd like to work on, but it's just timing and just, it's just a lot, there's a lot to do. I'm trying.
Okay, let's get back to 39, the millings.
Yep.
Consensus to do that, move forward with that.
Getting the conversions of,
Right.
Yeah.
That was my plan.
yep, I like that.
Yeah.
Saves county money, we get more bang for a buck.
Then that will tie, because all of them roads has got paved on each end.
Ties them all together.
And that-
Okay,
I think, and that's justifiable because of the scope of work we have coming in there, the cost savings it's gonna save us.
yeah,
I've got some prep work I gotta do, because 14 has not been burned yet. And 12, we did some work on 12 a few years ago. I think we pulled the berm on that one. And then,
you better double check 14.
it hasn't been burned. I looked at my logbook. He's been working on pulling the edges in with the truck, but we haven't.
Just
burned
the
it.
edges? Okay.
But we haven't burned it. I looked in our log. No, it might not need much.
It doesn't look like it does.
Right,
There's
and
not
it might
much-
not, Bill, but
Not much burn there.
I just know in my log that I haven't marked it.
Okay,
And in 18, we haven't done nothing.
all righty.
But I think them would make sense, and it would work with the scope of work. You know, it's how we did 5 over here. I didn't really have 5 planned, but with the trucks coming off State Road 8, at $3 a ton we paid for that material is a no-brainer.
Yeah. Okay,
Well, if you guys are okay with that, that's what I'm,
yeah.
okay.
Anything else?
That's all I have. I did bring this up for you. This is a copy of cost we're gonna need moving forward. You guys received that. Anything else for me?
Anything from Ben?
Yeah. Do we need to do anything with this maintenance bond, Bear Creek?
That cannot be released yet. They have some repairs to be
Right,
done out there. Chris sent
but it expires, so do we get a new one?
them a notice. You was copied in that email, was that 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I know, I'm copied in a lot of emails, so where are we at with it?
Have you heard anything?
July 14th. Okay,
What's the name of the entity?
I don't think so either that I've seen.
not that I know of before this morning, but I have 90.
Nothing's come this morning, so.
Since we came
I'll-
in this
I'll follow up this today, and if we need one, I'll get it. I hadn't heard from Jeff yet.
I have not either. There's a section of curb line that, and a catch basin that needs repaired, the curb heaved and, so, small section, but they still need to repair it.
Okay. All right, thank you, Ben.
Okay, well, thank you guys.
Later. All right, we have the surveyor's office. What you got? Bond ordinance sounds like.
Yep, Tyler with the Surveyor's Office, we're back for the pond ordinance. So for constructing ponds, we're gonna have an ordinance in place. I brought it to a previous meeting, we looked through it, made some changes. Andrew looked it over and says that it looks better now. So everything falls in alignment with the UDO from Development of Services. So we worked with Chris, making sure everything looks good. So we're gonna charge a pond permit fee now of $200 to help cover that cost of going out and inspecting and all the design work that goes into approving these ponds. So that's some of the major highlights. Then we just wanted to fall in line with UDO to have a little bit of teeth for anything that may happen out there. So we can put stop work orders out on any ponds that don't have approval and go from there. So everything I think is up to par. It looks good.
Okay,
Andrew, you looked over it, you're good?
I did look over the pond ordinance. Yes, I'll pull it up on my notes, but yes, I believe I was okay with.
And Chris, you're good with it?
Yeah, I think it helps. We do an inspection where the ponds are located, but the actual technical inspections can be done by their office, which will help. Some people don't do what they say they're going to do. So, as far as outlet connection. So doing that will help our office mostly together. Probably important too to note that this excludes retention and detention ponds. So it's not for like drainage plans. It's only for those recreational ponds. Right? We removed that wording of recreational pond because there's a little bit of discrepancy with that definition. So, but it excludes those ponds that are there for a reason of drainage.
okay. Looks like we need 3 readings on this.
Yes, I'd have to look up the code section for it, because that's not on the front or the back.
Okay. We'll table it for 2 weeks.
And then it'll have to be published because it has a fee after.
Right. That's, I mean, I can give you an ordinance number and add in the code number later. That's up to you guys.
What do you think?
Do the first reading today and then 2 weeks finish it up.
We can do that.
Right, Susan?
Yeah, I think you could add that in for your second, third reading, minor amendment.
You have the ordinance number?
2025-0-4.
Make a motion to accept the ordinance 25-0-04
4.
for the private pond construction requirement and fee.
Right, motion and a second on the floor. Additional comments? Comments from the public? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. First reading, the second and third in 2 weeks.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you for the work on that. Sheriff Thomas. What you got?
Good morning. I'm just here to request a transfer. The blue light is on.
There you go.
That's how it was.
Oh, I thought Tyler turned it off. I saw him hit the button. So.
He's been here before. Not his first rodeo.
I'm just here to request a transfer. It's a 2014 Dodge Durango over to the probation department. They had requested to replace an older vehicle they had. I thought they were going to be here this morning, but I'm a little bit early too, so. But that's all I
So
had.
it's a 2014, is that what you said?
Yeah, the last four of the VIN is 9127.
Do you know if what they're doing with their vehicle they have?
I don't know what they're doing with that one.
You want to wait and see if they come in? Any more comments on that, or?
The only thing I know about it is, I think they have a Dodge Charger now it's aged out, I think, and they're looking to get rid of that. I don't know if they'll auction that or trade it in. And this vehicle will be an upgrade from that one.
And that one was a prior sheriff vehicle also.
Yeah.
So who handles like the repainting of it? Because you have to take probably sheriff's logos off of it, that sort of thing.
Yeah, we normally have that done.
There he is.
There he is.
Finally.
Actually, you're early.
We're early.
Early.
We'll have the decals and everything taken off of it and have the equipment taken out of it.
Have any comments, or?
I apologize. 90% of this was a communication between my assistant chief, Ryan Hull, and the sheriff's department working together. Obviously, we have increasing requirements for field work, both through our treatment courts and our expectations. The car that we currently have, we got some problems with, so we want to make sure that we have reliable transport, no officers taking their own cars, putting that liability back. So we went on a fact-finding mission to find a more reliable vehicle, and obviously this is the cheapest option that we have. We don't want to go out and look for new vehicles or anything like that. We're trying to do that. We don't also have answers yet on exactly what's wrong with the current car we have. So,
Are you going to keep the current car if it fixes, or it just depends?
my intent right now, it's not even moving. So my intention is to at least get it moving, get it over to Dodge, find out what's really wrong with it, come back and get some direction from you guys. I don't think we have a need for two at this time. You know, we usually have one group going out at a time, and that's enough. But I want to make sure that we actually have I have enough in my current budget to get it running. I believe, because right now it's the battery. Get it over there, find out what actual maintenance needs done, then come back, give you guys an update and then a description. I don't think paying insurance on two is really necessary for our department, but and then come back here and make some decisions with it.
Maybe auction it or something, take it to auction.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, motion?
Second.
A motion second on the floor. Additional comments? Comments from the public? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
You bet. That works out well. Mike. Okay, what else we got?
Can we start going over the budget a little bit? This
Let's
board needs
do
to talk about
the
this.
elevator discussion first. Let me get the budget. Oh,
Okay. Elevator discussion.
we have,
So we're stuck in a contract till March 1st of 2026 with Otis. And I think there was some discussion among the commissioners about who might be reaching out to the new elevator.
I think it was me.
It was you going to
Yeah,
reach
I
out.
wanted that date nailed down for sure.
Okay, and in looking at that, let's see, I think the next step on that is it might have been, I'll have to look at my notes from the last meeting from before my vacation, but I think maybe I was to contact the new elevator. Is it Elevated, or no, it's
Executive.
Executive. I get those confused, Elevators
I
and
think,
Executive.
I think Bill was going to contact them.
Right.
Bill was going to contact Elevators? Okay.
He was going to contact Otis and make sure
confirm
that
that
new date is
Okay.
correct.
All right,
And get their number
yep,
so we know.
I will do that.
If you do that,
Yep, because from the reading of the contract, it should be March 1st, but I'd like to get it in writing from Otis when the contract is
Let's do that.
up. And then we only have a 30-day window from 90 to 120 days prior to that date. But instead of them arguing that the date might be wrong when we choose that 30-day window, I want to nail them down in writing on when that 30-day window is. and then make sure we notify them, we're not renewing for another 5 years.
When I know that number, then I will call.
Gotcha, okay. So we're pretty sure it's March 1st, but we want to nail it down with Otis first. I will do that.
Okay, just send that to me as soon as you get that, and
Yep.
I will carry on. Okay,
Okay.
now what? Budget?
Budget time.
Okay, Susan has provided us with an update on the budget, what the 25 adopted, 25 expanded, and the 26 requested. Expanded is what we've spent so far, up to 7.2. Is that correct?
Yeah, so basically 6 months.
Yeah, we got 6 months of what we spent. We can kind of figure out what needs to be spent yet and any adjustments. So I guess we'll go down line for line.
Okay.
Longevity pay, commissioners,
So
0.
I just haven't figured it yet.
But Susan takes care of that.
So what is that?
Yeah, my question too.
That's in the salary ordinance. That's the employees get so much money for however many years they've been here.
Okay,
Okay.
that's right.
That comes out of ours, not the council's? Or is it split? Okay.
The council and commissioners used to all be one budget, so everything was under here. When I separated them, I just didn't pull that. I mean, if you want me to pull it to council, I can. It's not a big deal.
So that number, you'll know, won't know till December 31st? Is that,
Well, I'll be able to do an estimate on the employees that we have now,
okay,
like what their upcoming amounts will be.
okay.
Okay, moving on down. Commissioners, 1, 2, and 3. Which,
Those we're leaving the same. The council will revisit all wages. That was their direction, was to leave it the same.
Okay.
right. Commissioner's attorney, Mr. Cruz. 52,000 last year was budgeted.
For current year, yeah.
Yeah, for the current year.
We doing a,
I guess first question, do you plan on staying on?
I do plan on staying on. I'm happy doing the work. I hope that I'm doing a good job, and I enjoy the work. It seems to be working well with the rest of my practice as well. So I'd like to stay on. And you guys have, and I appreciate the amount you guys have paid. So, I mean, I don't have any particular request or demand or anything like that on this.
a renewal for the same amount next year?
I'm okay to do that, at least for a year. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, easy.
Okay. stipend.
Stays the same.
I'd give up the stipend,
Oh. Okay.
honestly. If I'm even the president.
I was gonna say,
Maybe Kellen should answer
I was
that.
gonna say, what if the
Or Jim.
president changes?
Yeah. Yeah, Kellen.
Or Jim. We haven't decided next.
I guess we'll throw that in your court.
I said we just leave it the same for now. We can decide later.
You see. Perf is determined insurance.
Determined.
That is insurance for
Health insurance.
it's the health.
Yeah.
You think insurance is what now?
4105,
No, it's gone
303.
up from there.
The,
That's what we just did.
the insurance line item is health insurance.
Okay. that will increase.
Well, you look at the expended as of 7/2, it's actually decreased. We've not used half of it yet. The next 6 months looks like the first 6 months we were right at
You talking about perf, or are you talking about the
health insurance. We're on health insurance.
We don't have a number for health insurance.
We don't have any number.
You might be looking at Social Security or PERF. So the health insurance has the, has just number marks, hashtag.
There's nothing there.
You just
I've got an
you spread your
1833-075.
columns apart. It should.
You sure you got the right? You don't have the right?
Oh, there it is, yeah.
You have to make your columns wider if you can't see it.
Nope.
This is a revised one that she sent
You
out.
make the columns bigger, it puts the number in.
Oh. 1.8, what?
1833.
Which is why I figure once we have everything put in, workman's comp, everything is all added in.
Yeah, because how many claims we're gonna get and everything else too, so.
What's your suggestions?
There's not much we can do with that. I mean, that comes in as claims come in and stuff, so.
Leave it the same?
Lauren gave us an estimated budget amount, but that's for everything. So I have to go through and refigure to get you a value because we don't figure in, we gotta take away what the employee pays and stuff.
You have that total? Total? Not yet. What do you want to do?
Wait till Susan gets it to us. Just wait till Susan gets it to us.
Okay. When's this due to council?
You'll just talk about it on Wednesday or Thursday whenever
Okay.
Jody has you down.
Social Security is set. Safety supplies.
Fine with 1,000 in there.
I think.
Because we'll have to, depending on AED pads and stuff, do expire, so we don't, I know they're going through the process of that.
Employee Christmas.
So I reached out to Carve to see about doing hams and turkeys. He said to estimate $35 to $40 a person for a 6 to 7 pound boneless ham. And maybe it's about the same with turkey. He said that's the current market price. Who knows what it's going to increase in 6 months. So I would suggest to do 45 just to be on the safe side per person.
And I think that's why they ended up going with just a value of a gift certificate because the gift certificates are 25 or 20, I don't remember. It'll be double what you're currently paying to do.
At least.
Is that what we were doing before? I didn't know what we had before, so. That's just what he sent me. I reached out to him last week just to get, I wanted to keep something local, do something a little different than pies maybe. You do pies again if you guys are okay with, but.
You don't have to do pie. It's not, they're not doing pies, it's just a gift certificate. So you could do a gift certificate to
Carve.
or wherever in a certain dollar amount.
It seemed like everybody was pleased with that. I didn't hear any pushback or call us cheapsteaks or anything, but.
I mean, some people don't want to drive out there. I mean, you can't make everybody happy.
Oh, we could, but we'd break the bank.
Yeah, then, yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
So that decision will be made later on like at the end of the year. This decision is just whether to keep money in it for it or not.
I'd say yes.
Yeah.
Just stick with the 5610. Where you stand, or you want to put more in it?
6,000 again. If we don't spend up to it, that's fine.
Okay. Sounds good. CRP, certificate cards.
that we keep 2,000 in there, because depending on how many people want to have it be certified, that numbers are always going to change.
Yeah. TRN, ordinance
Courtney.
2024-0-5. Catch, neuter, and release.
So you guys had increased that for a total, I believe, of 4,500 for this year.
Yes.
So you will decide however you're going to split that up with any other organizations that you might do, animal-wise.
Comments from the public?
Hi, Courtney Butler here. I am currently representing AWA of DeKalb. We do TNR for the county, and I was hopeful we could see an increase to the budget for 2026 as the demand is very high for the program. Right now, we're able to help people with around 100 cats a year, and that is with them paying a portion as well. That eliminates 100,000 approximately new cat births. And again, this program is, if you love cats or hate cats, this is to assist our residents because they are an invasive species, we are drowning, and this helps relieve that. One of our goals would also be to, in the future, if budgeting allows, extend just low-cost spay-neuter services for canine for residents in our county who can't afford to get the service done, and then are also creating unwanted litters of dog, which create bite hazard, health hazard, and a myriad of other issues that right now can't be controlled very well with our current situation. So our goal is, again, to sterilize as many animals as possible with the partnership of the county, and again, be transparent with you guys. I'm here to answer questions, help, or do whatever I can do to continue the program and increase our funding. That's why I'm here today. If you have any questions or anything I can help with.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a number in mind?
Yeah, so, I mean, right now I think we're at 4,500. If we could get closer to 7,500, in that range, we could help actually get the demand we're seeing. That would get 136 cats a year with commissioner funds, because most households that are contacting us have upwards of 8 animals, and each of those makes thousands more a year if we don't get the whole thing done. Euthanizing, unless it is done as a wipeout, is completely ineffective. So the only way we have to reduce the population is to spay and neuter. That number would really get us to reach the demand we're seeing. Right now, we ask people to pay their portion. It's $50. We do the transport completely free. We use our own gas, our own traps, our own resources. The cost of the clinic is usually $55. We only charge $50, so we cover that even. So kind of reaching more residents would be the goal to actually see this stop the problem. I know we don't have a lot of options for cat intake either. That's a constant call we're seeing is people don't know where to go when they're finding these animals too. So we could sterilize them and get on top of the problem. That's where that number would come from. Approximately double, and that could decrease over time. Usually studies show after 3 years, we can start to reduce the amounts of surgeries because we reduce the amounts of cats by at least 50% in the first 3 years if this is done effectively.
I'm going to be honest with you, and I probably shouldn't say this, but the number I had in mind was to double what we'd given you last year. But that's just that'd be 9,000.
That would
And
reach
pull
the
that off
households.
of humane shelter.
That would what?
Pull that from the humane shelter.
Well, I would like to at least make it 7,500. At least.
I think it's a great program. I do appreciate all the studies that you sent us. I did read through them. Basically, if you remove them out, new cats fill in the gap. People don't, that's always the thought. We'll just remove them, new cats fill in, they breed, the problem doesn't change. So I think getting on top of it with the TNR has had good response here. It's also done well across the nation, it sounds like, in the studies you sent me. So I'm happy with the 75, but if you want to go up with it, that's fine too. We can go to 8, make it a nice even 8. Fine with that.
I'm good with 8.
Let's do 8. That'll work.
And if you don't mind, if you want to come in, like, every 6 months to kind of just give us an update, I'd be really appreciative.
Absolutely. I am happy to share statistics, studies, our personal results anytime. I'll share via email and in person. And I think the system works well with bill payment, with the auditor's office at this time too as well. Susan, we're seeing Humane Fort Wayne is happy with that too. So, and if we do have any changes, such as if since we are increasing to 8,000, right now our policy has been 2 commissioner-covered cats per household, which equals roughly $100. And then if they have 4, that's our cap, the resident pays the additional. And that's how we've done as many as we did last year, because we didn't have necessarily all commissioner funding. This year for 2026, if we increased 8,000, if you guys think it's okay, we would love to extend that to 4 covered by the commissioner funds per household with a limit of 8. So they would then pay for 4, commissioners would pay for 4, because the average we're seeing per household is 8 to 10 when people are contacting us. And I don't know that they're telling us about all of the cats they have for fear of repercussion even. So if we can start to make that big of a reach, we will see even more of a result without this invasive species continuing to breed. If you guys think
You're the
that's-
expert on it, so I'll leave it in your hands to just make that decision.
Yeah, and many residents that are able do throw $50 in addition at it to spay it forward, as we call it, to help those that can't pay for any. So the system does work well. We keep all of those records. I share them as often as possible, so I'm happy to continue to do that so you guys can see what our residents have a demand for. Because again, our goal is we love animals, but we love humans more. And we see people taking their money and trying to supply hundreds of cats with food and litter. They're seeing their properties destroyed. They're seeing their checks being spent on food that doesn't go to their family. And that is what we would like to stop. If we can increase the reach to help them, $50 a cat may not seem like a lot to us. It can make a world of difference to these people that are in need to stop the explosion. And their neighbors appreciate it, because then we don't have cats wandering, as discussed.
Okay.
So yeah, that would be the policy. I can put that into a nice packaged up email to share so that we're on the same page, and then I will communicate that with residents. When am I able to start sharing that info for 2026? To tell people we can help them more, is that?
After council.
It'll be a while,
Okay.
because it's got to go through all the channels.
No, that's fine. I just,
Council can agree to it, but until I get everything back from the state, I mean, we're looking like later fall before.
yeah, I will share that we're just in the planning stages. People are just very much in need, so this will be well received. We do not do surgery during extreme cold weather months for safety and transport. We've rented vehicles in the past to make it happen. We can do that depending on when we get into this being approved, how many people reach out to us. So, one other question I did have that's future planning. Huntington County is an example of a municipal shelter that is also run with a board. They partner with their county. They're currently in a direction, they're hiring a new director, so they're working on their budget too and planning. So it triggered me to ask you guys, if down the road someday a municipal shelter would ever be something the commissioners would want to see happen to serve our public. Again, just asking if it's ever a vision.
No,
Not this time?
no, I don't.
Okay,
Not this time.
not this time. Thank you, guys. Any other questions for me?
That's it.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you.
Okay. Drain and real estate taxes. 8,000, we've only spent 1131. Have we not paid all the spring?
Oh, no, I believe we paid everything. Sometimes reconstructions come up that we're not always aware of right away, and so we have some in there extra if we need it. I know I had to pay something, I think, last year. And then it's basically just an estimate from prior years, and then if it's there and we need it transferred somewhere else, then we have the ability to do that.
I'm fine with keeping it at the 8. We
Eight.
don't spend it, we don't spend it. You know what I mean?
I am too.
Other service fees, 10,000. Spent 3567. Probably the same.
Yep.
Public health, crisis response, leave the same.
Yeah, that way if we have a TB case, because remember when Cheryl was in here, she said that we have to handle those cases.
Yep.
Legal fees, 20,000, spent 5921.
That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The same?
Yeah.
You never know what's going to pop up.
Yeah.
Telecommunications, 30,000, spent 12,713. The same?
Yep.
That one, I was going to ask you, we don't know why, but for some reason, a million years ago, they put a tiny bit in the commissioner's budget. Everything else is paid through IT. Do you want it to stay with you guys, or I just think it would be easier if we just put it all with IT's
IT?
budget, increase their telecommunications so that the bill is all paid in one place.
Kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
But do we want to leave something in ours this year so that way until that's all done?
This isn't this year.
Well, for the next current year, I mean.
For 26? No, it would change as of January 1st.
Okay.
Yeah. Legal notices. It looks like that needs to stay the same, maybe increased. Over half spent.
I know.
Do we do all legal notices for all departments? Like drainage board and all them, or they have their own?
They do their own.
Just ours.
Does their own? I just didn't know if we paid for it because it's okay.
Gonna jump that up a little bit,
I thought so.
15,
I'm fine with that.
go to 15. Okay. Liability insurance. I'd say,
We've only paid half of it this year? Is that what
Yeah,
that's
that
stating?
Question I had, at 800,000 plus,
that'd be all of it.
Yeah, I think that's
We
all.
paid
of
all
it.
of it.
So it's just the one, that's okay. I didn't know because it's
Yeah.
current. I didn't know if we had another payment coming out or not. I was
Yeah,
like,
that-
seems,
I thought, man, that's way under, I mean,
okay, if that's the
I was
case, I'll just,
hoping not.
No, we've paid. There was a huge, okay, so a year ago when we were doing this, there was a huge unknown as to what the increase was going to be. And so I had figured like the last 3 or 4 years what we spent and did an average plus added an increase into it. So the $1 million was an estimate to make sure we had enough because we've always had to do a transfer in years past. We still don't know what the increase will be for next year.
they keep that $1 million.
I was going to say,
I wouldn't decrease it if that's what you're asking.
well, I was actually asking, is that going to be enough?
I have no idea.
That'd be a pretty big jump if it's not. I would hope some of this would level out a little bit, but
Yeah,
I'm thinking, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. I'm thinking $1 million would probably cover it.
We can always do a transfer later if we need to cover a little.
yeah, as I said, I would just leave it at the $1 million and then
Yeah.
we can adjust.
Okay, official bond, 3,500, spent 45. You are suggesting 4,000?
Yeah, because I believe I just had another 1 or 2 possibly invoices come in.
Give it at the 4.
Okay. Equipment rental.
I need to look up our leases for the big printers. And actually, I think that Bassett's was gonna get me an amount also to make, so I know what to put in there.
You're at 85?
I'm gonna look up the leases to see what the term was for how much and talk with Bassett's.
Okay. Okay, testing services. I think you recommended 3,000. You okay with the
Yeah,
up to
went down
3,000?
5 to 3.
Dues. Oh, looks like we need to go up a little bit.
Fine with the 8,000 that was suggested.
Me too.
Northeast Regional Coordinating Council, that's, ooh. We didn't have it, was that a fall payment or something?
I'm looking.
Must be.
Yeah.
It is. Okay, leave it 10.
Yeah, it's been 10 forever, since 2012.
Yeah. Northeast Center, mental health, that's already set.
Yep.
Children's First Center. Any suggestions?
Leave it the same.
We have the 503 seat on here. We have the Children's First Center. We have Easter Seal. We have Alliance, Council of Aging. That I know I reached out to, left a message at Children's First Center, which I've not received back. Aren't they under Northeast? Are they even still out there? I thought Northeast took over their building.
The Children's First, is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, wasn't that behind the hospital?
Yeah, I think it's
And
I think it's just a different name. Our account probably still says Children's First. Let me look. It looks like this year's it's still Children's First Center. They're probably at a different place. Looks like they're on Grandstaff.
I would like to see to put all the 503Cs into one fund instead of having it all separated out. And then they come every year and ask what they need it for and what they're gonna use that money for. Instead of just sending them 34,000 to Children's First, Easter Seal, 34,000, Alliance, 34,000, Council of Aging, 48,000. I know when I reached out to Council of Aging, they said they use that 48,000 for grant matching. Is that a standard grant matching that they have to do every year? Because I know we have somewhere later on, we have grant matching funds too, so.
We don't grant match their funds. We're just a pass-through entity for
For
them.
them, okay.
So Council on Aging, leaving it 48.
That is a pass-through
That's up
for
to you guys.
Pardon me?
That's up to you guys. I mean, I wouldn't decrease it for them.
I'm fine with leaving them all the same this year, but I just like to have a little more conversations with what they do with that money and stuff like that. That's all. That's my only concern. I'm fine leaving the 34 for the Children's First, Easter Seal 34, Alliance 34, and Council of Aging 48. But I'd just like to have a little bit more information from them going forward.
I kind of would like to bump Alliance a little bit.
Okay.
You know, I think that's a great entity, a great 501c, and they do a lot of good.
What number do you have in
It's been
mind?
34 for quite a while, some time anyway.
What number do you have in mind?
40.
Let me look at that a minute, because I was thinking theirs wasn't.
And I made a change back when Todd was,
So it was only 18,000. Then in 2023, that is when you guys separated and made everybody, or those three or whatever, the 34,000 each. But prior to that, it was only 18,000.
what was that year?
2023.
2023. Been 2 years. I don't know, that's my,
I think it's a great program too, so I'm fine with it.
you okay with the 40? Or another number? What, you know, What do you think?
40 is fine with me.
Yep.
40? Okay. Council on Aging, 48.
We
Stay the same?
jump back up a little bit, Bill. We got down a little bit. So we're on the children's first. We're going to do the 34 for them.
I think so.
And then the 4-H. Then we'll go down from there. And I skipped a little bit when I was asking about Council of Aging.
I'm okay with 3,000.
Where you at?
4-H. Go up a little bit. We jumped down a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're at 34,180.
Yeah.
I'm fine with 3,000 to 4-H too.
Okay. Care of inmates?
What exactly is that?
Yeah, I have
sorry.
that question. No.
That is, we have to pay for like clothing and stuff for certain individuals that are in different facilities.
That or what?
In different facilities, like if they get moved,
We send them to another jail.
Grange or Noble?
the commissioner ones generally are those that go to Richmond Hospital or Logansport State Hospital are the ones we've paid. I don't honestly know how it's separated, like why we pay some and the sheriff pays some, but the claims that come to me that I pay are actually directed to us.
You mentioned to the hospitals?
Uh-huh.
Are those?
That would be more of a county responsibility versus sheriff. The sheriff assists with transporting mental health patients, but they're not criminals, and so they're not subject to being held at the jail necessarily. So
Yeah, the sheriff
I think it's more of a
pays
county
for-
responsibility.
Yeah.
So that's why it would come out of your budget. That's just my opinion off the top of my head here.
Fine, keeping it at 1,000.
I agree, it's all hospital.
Humane shelter. What are you thinking on that?
Don't want to go any higher than 25,000.
I'm fine with 25. I want to talk to them, have some conversation with them about what they can actually provide, what they can't provide, what they can help with our new animal control, Erica.
Okay,
We'd like to work with
25?
them too, so I think leaving it at 25, then we can negotiate from there.
Okay.
Are there any other animal things that you were gonna add? Because I know Brian had,
I wanted to add, you want to do that now? Then Susan, okay. I wanted to add, how do you say that? How do you say it, Susan?
I don't know, Shadaroba?
Horse.
Shadaroba.
Horse rescue. It's the horse rescue here in town. They do fosters, so like when they take a horse in, they foster it out to other horse farms, and then they help with paying for hay and stuff like that to feed them. When I sat down with Erica, the animal control, she said that dogs, cats, which I would have worked with the Humane Society on, and then horses would be the other big one that she would need to have a place to go to. And so I did leave a message to them. I haven't talked to them about working on some kind of agreement with them, but I'd like to put some money into the budget
For that.
go forward.
Is there?
It'd be a whole new line item.
I was going to say, it's not on here.
Yeah.
I was gonna bring it at the end, but the reason wasn't right now, so it's a whole new line item, so I was thinking just 5,000 for the year, that way, and then we can always figure out how many horses are actually being taken there, not taken there, because the one thing that when Brady, Eric, and I sat down was we don't really have numbers to really play off of right now, so we're just trying to figure out how many horses are she gonna be taking from people, not taking from people, and all that stuff, so.
Okay. I agree with that.
Number from one year to the next.
Yeah, and so I thought maybe just start with 5 and then just kind of see what the numbers look like.
Get a handle on it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Appreciate it.
Was
guys.
there any other,
She said there's other ones, there's some snake and reptiles, but she could do that as needed, but she doesn't tend to take snakes and reptiles very much. They're not the ones that tend to be in bad conditions. Most times they're pretty well taken care of. She said horses, cats, dogs are the big ones that we need to make sure.
Okay.
With horses, people just don't have the funds to feed them anymore. That's what tends to happen there.
All right. soldier burial.
Probably, I don't know what they do. Probably.
So the soldier one, I had suggested to increase it to 20. I've already done transfers, or I'll be doing another transfer yet this year. It's a guess, you don't have any idea.
I'll take 20. I mean,
Yeah, let's
that's
go
your
with 20.
suggestion on it.
Change of venue.
Keep it at 200.
Yes. Mr. Seal Rise, you want to stay at 34?
Yep.
Travel, training, education,
Is that just for us? Is that for,
that's just for us.
Yep.
then Susan suggests 5,000, so I'm fine with that.
It should work. Open EDF consultant fee.
We need to leave that in there. When they did their, I can't remember how long ago, but they did their economic development agreement thing, and in it, it says they had to pay so much money. So like they paid us $150,000, and then we would pay claims out of that money for when we would use a consultant to help to make decisions on that. But then it can come to an end, and then we have to pay them back what we haven't used.
Okay. Fine, leaving it there.
Okay. All right, Alliance Industries, we agreed on 40.
Yep.
Council on Aging, 48.
Fine with that.
Maumee River Basin.
Fine with it, keeping the same.
Same. Promotions?
Is that employee promotions? Is that?
That is,
I thought we put the plaques with Sandy's.
but what?
Didn't we put the plaques in our Sandy's budget, or is she, the fire?
Patties?
Patties.
Yeah, that always leave 1,000, and I might not use it this year, like or in 26. What I would have used it for this year is like I used it for your guys' nameplates, just different things like that, if we need a new signage or something.
Leave 1,000 there then.
Okay,
And like council, if we have new council people, that's where it had come from.
jumping down to the lit economic development. Courthouse security supply. Badges, tablets, supplies. Looks like we have a plenty in there.
So there's a 20, okay, so the first one, the account 21017, and then 2 down is 31017. There, you always had you had 30,000 this year. I just split it up because we needed, sometimes we need to pay for a supply, not a service. So I just had split that 30 between the two of those.
Okay.
Between 21,017 and 31,017, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that looks good. Economic development, partnership, Anton King. Service for fees, 105. Thoughts?
I say we leave it budgeted in there and see what he does this year. If this is for 2026, we'll make that decision in January for him like we did this year.
Yeah, we can do that. Leave it in as is, you say. Okay. Administrative funds, 800,000, and 292,833.
So that account, once you guys figure all your other, what you're gonna put in your other accounts, then I kind of look to see like what we haven't spent, what we're gonna get, and kind of just put a big chunk there. Then if something would come up, you would have the ability to transfer it wherever. We wouldn't have to ask for an additional appropriation.
So we need to leave it blank right now.
Yeah, I'll see where we're at once we get all the other ones filled in.
Could we get a list of what that's been spent on?
I can even give you an idea of right now.
Just curious, 292,833. It's kind of our catch-all fund.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the bigger piece of that, what was it, 292? Yeah, the bigger piece of that was when we moved we used the ARPA dollars, and so money had come back. So 263,685, that was a remaining payment that we had for the highway for GM Development Company. One of their draws that they had, number 14, was the majority of that. The rest of it is, we had SAND strategies for broadband consulting. That was $3,000 a month, which that's done now because he had sent an email explaining that. You guys had like $10,520 for Weller Electric, something to do with the highway.
Generator.
I think so. I don't know. It had something about 6 receptacles, north, south, east walls, power for a tire machine, changed an EM light in the existing building to a night light, 8 receptacles in the existing shop on every other column. I don't know what receptacles are. A pilot switch on an existing fan, garage door, a plug for garage door, wire mold, walk-in door, another receptacle, a welder plug for the pressure washer, proximity reader wires, lights in the parts area, 3-way switches, reworked a light above the south door, and a receptacle at a fuel station for a temporary tank. That's what that was. That was built in January.
So that number possibly could come down second half?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. 800,000 probably more. We need in there. What do you think? 500? 400?
Well,
Which one are we into? Administration fund?
Yeah.
Susan will come back with that number on us.
she'll come back with a number for us.
Okay. 31, economic development. We've always had money in there and they've never used it.
Well, so I have a question. Can those funds be used for county drains? I mean, because it talks about the Fred Grosek Cup drain right there.
So let me see where we are here.
I don't think so.
I think you guys had,
That was if that was an economic development project, and I don't think we can classify that as an economic development project.
and then I don't think we ended up using it. I think actually we ended up using ARPA dollars for that, for the Fred Gross Cup part that we paid for.
Yeah. We used ARPA money to pay for part of an engineering fee.
Right, but
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we use that for drains. Not, I don't know how you'd swing
New
that.
drain that's developing an area, I would imagine, but consistent drains, I don't know if you can make it as economic development.
Be kind of hard. I don't know, we've always left it in there. I'm not sure we need to. We don't even have a department for that.
I believe the thought, which, again, you've never used it, I believe the thought was you had some there in case there was a building or something you wanted to buy or land or something, that it was there. However, if you don't put it in that actual account, it'll just it'll get rolled into the administrative account so that you can transfer it if that would happen to arise.
I don't know.
I would almost look at it more of putting that 118 towards, putting it towards the courthouse with updating the third floor stuff, which we need to do. With the whole plan that we were talking about earlier, that could be a fund that Larry can be like, hey, this is what I got, can start building up, and then we can start using it to start repairing small, like, working on the third floor. Because the second floor is pretty much done, correct? After the clerk's office is done?
Well, I guess it depends on what level you want to consider done. So,
That'd be up to Larry. I'd like to get a fund for Larry that he can use that outside of just maintaining and maintenance, because down later on, we have a maintenance fund and repair fund, but I'd like to have a fund of, hey, he wants to remodel this area.
so these are accounts, not funds.
Accounts, sorry.
So it would be an account, and
Still learning the lingo.
it's an account in a fund.
Yes.
And it's not something that would just keep building. So like if you put 118,000 in it, every year you would have to reappropriate what you want. Next year it could be totally different depending on what happens with lighted. So then it might fall into under the general fund or something like that. But say you put 118,000 in there, if he only used 18,000, 100,000 won't stay there. It doesn't just stay.
But it gives him a fund,
An account.
dang it, an account that he can start working out of the remodels on and stuff. Like he wants to paint a room up there, he has an account that he can pull it out of without having to come to us and be like, hey.
Right. So I guess the other thing you guys need to think about is what level of remodel you're talking. You know, because like in my office, we fixed some plaster, we repainted, we did flooring, but we haven't, like we still have all the old desks that aren't really functionable, but I didn't redo any of our desks or anything on that level. I did do one on the transfer side, but, because we were.
I think creating an account for Larry to decide, it comes with us to a plan of, hey, this is what I want to do next year. He has an idea of what his account is to do those things. I don't know what's going to cost, and he can come up with the cost, but at least that starts building towards him working on a plan for the courthouse with an account that he has, he can pull out of now.
Well,
That would need to include all the county buildings
That's,
also.
well, we have one for the county buildings down here of maintenance and repairs and stuff. I mean,
Like, you could just put it in there. Like, you
Put it
could
in
just
one.
put,
that's fine, we can just do,
Yeah.
however you want to name that account.
yeah, I don't want to call it economic development.
But yeah,
I
to get
wouldn't think
rid of that one,
Yeah.
no, I would
change the name and keep the 100.
put whatever amount you decide in 31062.
1062.
That's county buildings improvements and repairs.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
I say we
sounds-
get rid of economic development, put the 118 in there.
Yeah.
My suggestion.
In addition to the 100,000 that's already there,
Yes.
so that'd be 218,000.
Yes.
Or whatever number you put in there.
We could go that, start out with, and then,
Play with it. I mean, he doesn't have to spend all of it. I mean, it's just an account for him to
Right.
work out of. Because he's going to have other repairs and maintenance he's going to have to do out of there. And then he can also start replacing desks or start doing some remodels or start working on that stuff.
Start out at 200,000.
yeah. Do that. 100,000. Let's do that.
But then get rid of the economic development line item
Yeah.
account.
Yeah.
Exit.
Line item and account are same thing, you're good.
Okay.
EMS agreement, that's already done. You know how that's gonna be.
Yep.
Yeah, I put that in there.
When's that payable?
Oh, sorry, January 1st.
I think, yeah, it wouldn't be till January.
Okay. So we're not looking at the 325 until,
Next calendar year.
2026.
Yeah, it's per calendar year, so it should,
2027, yeah.
it will reflect just fine.
okay. Covered bridge, roof. That's the 150, I think, is like 26 short.
36 short. I think it's 86.
But isn't that getting done this year?
It is.
Yes, August.
So we won't need that for 26,
We won't, will we?
right? Is that right?
Right.
So I don't know
We want to put any.
if you want to put anything in there, just because it's not just for the, right now it happens to be for the roof, but it's the covered bridge rehab, so like anything that you guys do.
It's all been rehabbed.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know what else.
The only thing that might come, Ben, it says it might need painted. So maybe
I mean,
barely.
I'm fine keeping something in that account, so that way, if something does come up, we have the account ready to go.
How about we leave 50 on, that should paint it,
15,
50?
50,000?
That would surely paint it.
I don't know how much it would cost to be painted, so that's fine. 50 is fine. Hopefully it costs 25 and we save. Down from 150, so.
Yeah. County, number 62, we've got that covered.
Yep, so that's 200.
Yeah. Highway Department, operations, $1 million. We've been doing that for several years.
I would hate to decrease that. I would hate to decrease that.
You want to decrease that?
I said I would hate
Hate to
to.
decrease that.
I do not want to decrease it.
I agree. Keep it to 100, keep it to $1 million.
Yep.
Other service fees, 1,500.
Highway bond fee.
Yeah, we only need 750 for that.
Okay?
Oh, okay, you got it there, yeah. Grant match dollars, 350,
I like that.
okay. Bridge number 17,
That's getting done next year, right?
Well, some of the bills are coming in this year.
Okay.
So when the whole ARPA money, like, there was like 1.3 or 1.37 or something that was agreed to use ARPA dollars on. So I just have the difference there from what we've paid so far to what was agreed on. I don't know, it could come in more, it could come in less, I have no idea. But we had agreed 1.3, I believe, to pay with ARPA money, which, because of the adjustments in the claims, that 1.3 is in the lighted fund. So that needs to go for the bridge.
I'm fine with that,
Okay.
that number. We don't, but yeah.
all right, bond payment, that's very much set in stone,
Yeah.
takes care of that.
So I'll put these all in and see where we come in at. Yeah, the bond payment is the newer of expenditures added to that.
Okay, courthouse, personal service fees, that's for J1 janitorial. Why are we over halfway on that, of the 186, 670? Particular reason? Money-wise?
Probably played July, which would, if July got paid, that would be the 7th month, so it would be over.
Yeah, which is probably what.
What's happened? Hopefully that's the explanation,
Did you pay January and
because that's a lot of money for,
last year?
that
You know what I'm
includes all
saying? Like,
buildings,
it
right?
doesn't necessarily make 7 months.
so, let me see here. Yeah, December gets paid in January. So it's December and then January,
I got
February, March,
paid in
April, May, June.
Yeah,
So then this December goes into the,
okay.
So it is
That's-
inaccurate, 6 months.
yeah.
We don't anticipate any increase in that next year? What we're saying here?
I don't know. I left it the same. I don't know. You guys can suggest something. I only left it the same because it happened to be a wage area. For council, I believe
I think,
prior, they just increased it, like, if they said 4%, they did 4%. But I had just put it in as the same because it was a wage part.
you okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. Overtime, straight time, courthouse. Be the same?
Yep,
Custodian, the same?
yep,
The wage.
Maintenance, same?
yep.
And officer, floating officer, the same?
Yep.
Okay, petroleum products and supplies. Same?
That looks like it.
Repair and maintenance supplies went up a little bit. Okay with that?
Yep.
Adjusting up.
Yeah.
Groundkeeping supplies.
Went up $20.
Okay with that?
Yep.
Copy machines.
I just evened it out.
I know you did. That's why I mentioned $20. I'm
Same
fine with that. Yeah, I think we already have agreements on that,
Yeah.
so.
Electric. Now, that's not a previous pay ahead difference. What's going on with electric? Went from 119 down to pay 249.
It's a good thing.
That's a real good thing.
Well,
What's the
We still
glitch?
have the other cold months coming up.
right.
What's the catch?
We still got fall in December.
Yeah, that doesn't affect electric that much, though.
True. I don't know what we have.
Actually, it would cost us more in the summer than in the winter. Because the
I
AC.
just don't know if we have baseboard heating in some of the buildings or not. I don't know what we have.
So right now,
Which is
All the buildings?
the last bills that were paid were through June 5th. So we have all of,
got another bill to pay, so it'll go in that.
yeah. Wasn't it last year when everybody was freaking out because they said the electric was gonna go like sky high?
I don't know, we used to have it at
Residential is
100,000.
gonna go higher. If you're in the city of Auburn, it was gonna go higher residential because a lot of the commercial and industries were the ones taking the bigger hit on it.
That's three-phase, I believe, that we're on.
Don't know. I'm fine leaving
Leaving it?
it, yeah, just so we have enough to cover it.
Yep,
Okay. Natural gas,
Same.
same thing.
yeah. Waste removal.
Keep
Looks
it
like
the same.
same. Ground maintenance,
Ice and snow
Same.
removal. Yeah, I think it's probably a contract of some sort.
vehicle maintenance and repair. Huh, same.
Yeah.
Equipment repair and maintenance, same.
Yep.
Yep,
Being repair and maintenance, same.
yeah.
Copy machine, open.
Pieces we have, right?
Those two, one of them we own, one are machines we own, one are machines we lease. I'll get with Bassett's on those.
Okay.
I was
Equipment,
supposed to get with me.
same.
Sure.
Break room equipment, same. Okay.
Well, no, it's break room equipment. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I was on the wrong line. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You got 2,000 spent, nothing.
Yeah,
2,000.
Just two-
We have a little bit that will come out because somebody got a refrigerator.
Yeah, we can, yeah, something breaks down. Okay, other service fees, courthouse, is under the Cume Capital Development, 00. Building repair and maintenance. Now there again, we got a repeat.
That's gonna be all the other buildings, right?
Different fund.
So it used to be all building repair and maintenance came out of the Cume Cap Fund. The Cume Cap Fund is very, very low in funds. So last year I had moved 200,000 of it into county general. And I had left 120 in Cume Cap. I don't spend a lot out of Cume Cap with the courthouse only because it's so low. We're not going to be able to keep buying our vehicles and stuff if we keep spending it. So that's just how I had separated it. I'll probably leave some in there just so it's there in case we need it. It's appropriated.
How much you want to leave in? You're suggesting?
I don't know, because you never know when something's going to break.
50?
It's a whole estimate.
Yeah.
I think we ought to leave at least half of what,
Half?
60,000. You think 100,000?
I mean, it's not like we're spending it, we're just out.
Yeah, we're,
Right.
Not great, but if not, I mean, things can break pretty quickly and they can add up very fast. But
In 24, I think it was in 24, we had 320,000 in there. And that's how the split got 201 and 120 in the other. Now I'm trying to think, I think 100,000 of that or 115,000 may have been for the elevator. Not the elevator, the generator maybe. And we did the generator with ARPA money. So we probably could reduce it.
I'm kind of thinking, I'll pick a number in between and let's go 75.
that's what I had in mind,
works for me.
Okay.
75.
I mean, it's a guessing game.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway,
Right.
yeah,
so let's, yeah.
but at least it, if it
That's
has
up
to
to
be
them.
spent, it's there.
Yeah. That's in the list. My list anyway.
Yep.
All good?
Yep.
Okay. Andrew, you have anything to finish up?
Not that we
You'll send
need,
that out to us
need
with
to
all the
discuss
updated
today.
numbers.
John, anything?
Sunny Meadows update. We have possibly 4 residents being relocated this month. We have one has a date of the 19th. We have 2 other ones that should be getting us a date this week. They're going to the same facility. And then the one that's been waiting on some paperwork, hopefully 2 of the 3 things that need to be signed off has been signed off. We get that last one, hopefully we can get him relocated too. So we should have 4 of them.
We're going.
4 gone by hopefully relocated by the end of the month.
Great news.
What's that leave
Thanks,
us with?
Kellen, for your work on
That
that.
would leave us with 13.
13, okay.
Jim, anything else?
Good, thanks.
Susan, last call?
Nope, I'm good.
I'm done. I'm hungry.
Right?
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.